worlds ablaze, moments that steal the mundane days. No fear, no hold in this maze. Reach the peak of these wild days. It lives, Friday night lives. You die, but Friday night lives. Hosted by Deadbeat Radio, Stuntman Mark and Rebel Rap.
It ain't Friday night, it's Saturday night. We fucked it up. But it's still going to be killer because we're still going to be talking about all these movies, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, for those of you just joining us, though, this is the continuation of Friday Night Lives because CK and I went and saw Terrifier 3 last night, and he pissed and came and bled and died, and he came back to life. And he ascended into the heavens, all because of Terrifier 3. But we're going to continue what would have been Friday Night Lives on this show, which includes 1995 to 1999, our top 5 films, the way this show works. We each go through and say our top 5 from each year. And
I've
Mark
already fucked up.
Mark's fucked up something. What'd you do, Mark?
I didn't rank 1997.
Well, there ain't no need to because that year sucks ass anyway. I'm sorry, but it does. Going through all these years, that is by far the worst year that I've seen to date of any of the ones we reviewed. 1997, fucking good luck.
Well, I got luck. I got a lot of luck.
Makes me mad even thinking about 1997 on here.
That'd be bad.
But yeah, we're gonna go through them all. It's gonna take a couple hours, no doubt. Mark is currently gonna rank
Trying
his shit.
to speed rank the
Speed ranking. So anyway, while we're doing that though, let's talk about a couple movies that we both saw. So we saw Terrifier 3, and I was telling you guys, like, I liked it. I mean, it's exactly what you think it is. Like, it's hard to fuck up a movie like Terrifier because you know exactly what you're in for when you go into one of those. It's just lots of gore, death scenes one right after the other, gross, disturbing stuff. Like, that's it. I do not think I like Terrifier 3 as much as I like Terrifier 2. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I mentioned that in the review that we did. On the Road, you can go see the On the Road review that CK and I did. But I mean, it's fine and everything, but there's something about Terrifier 2 where I was telling Mark, I felt like in Terrifier 2, like it was leading up to something like a really good backstory, really good plot line. And then in Terrifier 3, it's just like, that's all fucking gone. And there's really nothing connecting. There's a weird possession exorcist angle like in it that doesn't really make any sense with anything else. So I don't know. I won't say I'm disappointed. I don't think you could be disappointed in that movie. Like, if you were in it for gore, my God, like, there's no way. But on the opposite end of that, a movie that was supposed to kick the dog shit out of that, but did not at all. You saw this. I think you both saw this. You saw Joker 2. Joker Lives. So how did that go?
It deserves to be his ass hit.
It went. That's
okay. Let me put it this way: if you like the first film, I did a review. I haven't uploaded yet. Imagine you're on a plane for 2 hours or 3 hours. You're going to a trip. You looked at all the brochures. You're getting ready for something. You get there. They go, nope, you're not leaving the plane. You're going all the way back to where you started, and it was completely pointless. Joker 2 is one of the most pointless sequels out there. Like, literally, he's in jail. He has some musical numbers, mostly in his head. Harley Quinn manipulates him because we can't have the guy be toxic. She's got to be toxic because Joker can't be canceled. He's too mean. And then he becomes a pussy, and he gets raped by prison guards, and then he dies. The end.
Damn.
Wait, was that what that scene was supposed to imply? I thought they just beat him up.
No, they undress him till he's naked, and then they drag him, and he's like catatonic. You thought they just why you think
God.
they undressed him naked in prison?
I thought
Like, you
it
seen
was just-
Oz?
I thought
Have
it
you?
was just for humiliation. I didn't know he got raped.
Yes,
Jesus.
that was the point because he's a loser. Because the director was mad. A couple people took Joker in a different way, and he didn't like that. So to appease that 10%, he decided to tell the 90% of people who liked it for the story, "Go fuck yourself," and just went back to him being a more pathetic person than he was at the beginning of Joker 1. And the guy who kills him is the real Joker. That's why he's laughing when he leaves. I think he's doing the Heath Ledger cutting his face thing.
Yeah.
So, no wonder. And you spend $200 million on that.
I think about
Congratulations.
50 to 60 million went to Joaquin Phoenix.
He didn't deserve it.
Todd Phillips.
Not for this. He did
And
nothing but
Lady-
smoke cigarettes.
Lady Gaga. Oh, yeah, that's right. He just chain smoked cigarettes the whole movie.
Yeah.
I was telling you guys, God bless everybody for watching this film because I will never watch it. I have absolutely no interest in ever seeing that movie. Just for the fact that it's a musical and like Joker was okay and everything, and
Mhm.
for what, but it's not a movie I ever go back and watch. So I don't really have any interest in seeing Joker 2 ever. I'll be fine with just not seeing that. Have you guys watched anything else recently like that would be notable? I know you guys.
Beetlejuice
Matt.
2.
I skipped through that and I saw all
God.
the parts that I needed to see. And
That is one of the worst films I've seen this year is Beetlejuice 2. I despise that film.
Well, it's got a 7.0 right now on IMDb. I want you to know that, man. It's everybody loves it.
I'm
Apparently.
glad they enjoy it. I still didn't.
It is quite possibly one of the dumbest fucking movies that I've ever seen. Like,
I would agree.
especially for like, whatever that is, like a sequel. What do they call those now? Like, there's
I
a
know what
particular
you-
word for them, but I can't think of it. When it's like a tie-in sequel, a
Legacy sequel or
legacy or something like that. But yeah, and the damage that they do to almost every character in that movie is fucking just hilarious. Like they just, if you liked anybody from the original Beetlejuice, you'll hate them by the time this movie's over with. Fucking Winona Ryder is just whiny and like codependent the entire time of that movie.
She was awful.
She
I was
sucks in
surprised
it
by-
too. Yeah,
Bear, go ahead. What
I was just gonna
is
say
it?
she just can't act. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on with Winona Ryder, but like she's one of those people, like I've talked about before, that just forgot how to act somewhere along the way. And she's been in stuff recently. But she can't act for shit, and neither can Jenna Ortega Sauce. Like she can't like play anything except that one note role that worked in Wednesday, and that's all she can fucking do. And it's annoying in every other movie I've ever seen her in.
well, that's because in Wednesday she doesn't really have to emote. She's just
Exactly.
this-
Like that's the only thing she can
Yeah.
do. She can play that role perfectly.
Yeah, that's a movie without taking too much time that it's a comedy. I laughed maybe one time and I don't know what else was supposed to be funny. And it felt like 3 different scripts put into one movie. Like Monica Bellucci, she did not need to be. She's only in it because she's Tim Burton's girlfriend. That's the only reason. She was not needed. That felt like a different movie. Willem Dafoe felt like a different movie.
Yeah.
The Jenna Ortega with the dead kid, and then Beetlejuice wanting to marry. Those felt like 2 different movies. Like those were 2 sequels, but they decided to put in one movie, and none of it worked. And like, why is he telling his backstory, but he's speaking Italian, like it's a Fellini movie?
There's a lot about that I couldn't figure out. Like, what's with all the fucking dance numbers? I mean, I get it. They had one in the original Beetlejuice, right?
But that told a
that worked.
story. That told a story.
Yeah.
It was these 2 wanting to steer these folks, but they don't want to hurt them. So there's a reason why it's there. Here, the scene is him trying to get married to this lady, which he would have won if he didn't stop for the 5-minute dance scene.
right.
That was MacArthur Park was the song. I'm
Yeah.
like, there was no point other than the first one had a death scene. And I did not know Jeffrey Jones has a recurring joke in this movie where he's the dead shark victim.
Yep.
I'm like, you gave this motherfucker
I still
a
can't figure
paycheck.
that one out either. Like I cannot figure out what was the point of that. Were they just that desperate to do like fan service that they had to figure out a way to put that character in there, and they knew they couldn't put Jeffrey Jones in there, and there's like,
Yeah.
so we'll just have him like have no face because nobody would have given a shit. Like if that character was
That's true.
gone, if you just explained at the beginning he died, nobody would have cared.
One or two lines, yeah.
Yeah, and like you were saying, there's like 4 or 5 different plots in that movie that don't go anywhere. They don't fucking end anywhere. Like in that movie, it's just a ridiculous. And I hate like the fact that people, it was a huge hit, and people are still like, oh well, I really enjoyed it. It's like,
Teach their own. I
did
did
you
not see.
know? Did you enjoy it? What the fuck are you enjoying? Like, do you enjoy like Huff and Glue? Like, what?
I probably do.
If people like to teach their own, I just saw no comedy, and I was surprised by the lack of creativity in that because all that was kind of was you saw in the first one. There's a sandworm, the people stretching their faces. They did that in the first. The little pinhead voodoo things you saw in the first. So,
Which I hated that too because it took like a side character from the first film and made it into what was essentially like something they could make plush toys out of. You know, like some sort of weird marketing thing where they're, you know, the Bob fucking toys.
I will admit he was my favorite. He was the only character
Yeah,
I liked.
yeah.
Hashtag justice for Bob. I felt sorry for him because he didn't talk, and he was my favorite character.
He really is the best character in that movie, sadly. Like, and that's no joke.
I felt so bad for him, and I'm like, that's sad that that's the character I liked in the movie.
Oh, shout out! Wait, we got a super chat here real quick. Shout out to the underrated Lord of Illusions, indeed.
I like
Clive
that one.
Barker is back, ready to party. Yeah, man, I had like a bit of time today, and I was going through like old DVDs, like out in the garage, and like bringing shit in.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious, some of the stuff that I found, man. And it's stuff that, like, a lot of it's stuff that I know will never, ever be released on anything else. Like, it'll never be re-released. It's stuff that we got back in the day. Hold on. Let me show you some of these bangers from the early 2000s real quick.
Nice.
Let's see. So some of them I actually did bring in because I don't know if they have Blu-ray releases yet, and I just wanted to see them again. And then some of them I brought in because they're so fucking hilarious that I had to.
I can't wait to see him.
Okay. So, what the fuck? I don't even know what this is. It's never been opened. From Camp Motion Pictures, Night Terrors, some sort of killer Santa Claus movie. From, let's see, this was made in 2014.
Wow.
It stars Richard Hackle. It was, who directed? There's no director on it. They're just like, we don't even want our name on this. Jason Zink. This is a Jason Zink joint right here.
So did they give you a screener and the DVD that wasn't open, or they just sent you that?
They just sent us the DVDs at that time. And I don't think I ever reviewed it.
They never asked.
No. This is the one we were talking about the other night. That's why I brought it in. This is the hidden
Oh yeah.
The snapper case.
snapper case, the one that I've got. This is the only version of the hidden that I got, so I brought it in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. This is a horrible line of movies that they did from Code Red. You guys remember this one? It's not a demon, but it's the Maria
Mm-hmm. I remember those.
Kanellis line where she was trying to be like Elvira there for a period of time.
That's right.
I have a couple of those DVDs.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. The Maria's B-Movie Mayhem is what it was called.
Yeah. Wasn't Was it only Maria or was it the other chick too? Was it?
It was
Katie Burchell.
Katie Burchell was in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did it as well. That's a hell of a gimmick she had there for a while.
Yeah.
Junk. I think this is a appropriate name.
In the second.
Movie. This is actually Unearthed Films though, so this may have a Blu-ray out now. It's like a Asian zombie movie. So,
Junk.
What year is that? Is that early 2000s?
that would have been early 2000s. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. No, 99. This could make our
Wow.
this could make our list tonight.
That's one of your
folks.
honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Just don't know it
Junk.
yet.
I don't know about this having a Blu-ray or not. It probably does. I think it does actually from Scream Factory. I'll never buy it though, so it don't matter. Man's Best Friend. I brought that in to watch.
Yeah.
It has a
the,
Blu-ray.
Scream Factory Blu-ray. Yeah. It's bare bones.
I don't know about this one, but Prom Night 3 and 4, the double pack DVD. I don't know if that has a release on Blu-ray. It might.
I don't
I
think
hope
so.
not.
Probably be a Vestron one down the line.
You don't like The Last Kiss and Delivers from Evil? What the
No.
hell's wrong with you, Rambo? Also, the DVD of Psycho Holocaust.
I remember that cover, but I don't
I do
remember
too.
who made that.
This was made by Independent Entertainment, released in 2011. And let's see, it's got Rain Brown, Trent Haga. These are some names from back in the day, man.
Yeah.
And directed by Chris Rufty. What? Chris Rufty, boy. Get ready to piss out your butt for Chris Rufty.
Oh my god.
What is he wearing? Is that like a
It's
not
a
a hockey
tater stack.
mask?
It's like
Yeah.
it's like a big rip off of like
Okay.
it looks like a big rip off of Friday 13 Part 2.
Bloody
Okay.
tater sack.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I know this one's pretty well known, but I just wanted to see it for the gore, and I didn't have it on anything else. This is the Burning Moon DVD, Olaf Ittenbach's thing.
Oh, one of those. Okay.
Yeah, I've got some more in there too, but I can't get to them right now. But eventually, I will get to all of the like early
that-
2000s.
No, that was Jorg Bergerett, right? Who's getting the
Yeah.
box set.
Yeah, I've got that. This box set should be here on Tuesday. I got an Arrow shipping notification for that.
Nice.
So I got through Necromantic and Necromantic 2, but I'm curious what his other films are like. So we'll see. Anyway, let's get started with this shit because you know we're going to be here until
Oh yeah.
40
3-hour
minutes
show.
after midnight. Yeah. 1995. I will start this time, and then I guess let's see. Rambo, you can go next. Mark, you can go last this time. Cool. We'll
Okay.
just go with that. Honorable mention of 1995 goes to Casino. I'm going to give you 3 honorable mentions. Casino's about one of them. It's just like Goodfellas. So I couldn't put it in my top 5. I already put Goodfellas in my top 5. I'm going to put Empire Records in there. I love Empire Records. Always loved that movie since I was a kid. It's great soundtrack, great product of its time. And let's put Outbreak in there too. Fuck it, because that's like one of the first like biological contamination movies of that time period that I saw. I mean, there's ones way before that, but like that was the one from that era.
That cast too. I mean,
Yeah,
Spacey,
they had a great cast.
Kaufman, Freeman. I mean, it's a loaded cast. Yeah. It's not bad.
So my number 5, and you're not going to believe this, but this is just the way it is. My number 5 of 1995 is Copycat. I've watched that movie more times than I care to remember.
Love Copycat.
And it's got Sigourney Weaver, it's got Harry Connick Jr., it's got Holly Hunter. It is an excellent movie about a guy that is copycatting like serial killers and like all their MOs. And he is actually like previously almost killed Sigourney Weaver, but she's back this time to I'm sorry. There's a previous serial killer that almost killed Sigourney Weaver, but Sigourney Weaver's coming back to hunt this new guy down and help the police find him. And I always just thought it was a really cool idea and I always thought it was really cool that they actually brought up the serial killers that he was copycatting and like what crimes that they were copycatting and stuff like that in the film too. So for anybody that hasn't seen this movie, I don't think it's like that well known of a movie really, but
It doesn't get talked about a lot.
yeah,
no. But
yeah,
it
you
is
got to
very
check
solid.
out. You got to check out Copycat. I mean,
Good,
that's.
good score by Christopher Young, I believe, did the score.
I think he did. Yeah, same guy that
Very
did
good score.
Hellraiser. Yep. My number 4. I know this seems like it's far down the list, but there were a lot of really good movies in '95. In my opinion,
95 was the best year, I think.
yeah. My number 4 would be 7, which is weird that my number 4 is 7. I mean, I don't know what the fuck else to say about 7, really. I mean,
When you first saw it, did you expect it to be that dark, or like, do you remember like being surprised with the ending?
oh yeah, like I mean, I think everybody was surprised with the ending at that time, and I don't think the internet was really that big at that time, especially around here, so nobody could really spoil shit for you immediately. So like the only thing you had then was like word of mouth, and nobody was really like giving away the ending or anything. So when I first saw it, I was blown away by the whole thing, really, like the idea of using the 7 deadly sins and all that as the set pieces. And there's that scene everybody always talks about that really did like get me too, like as a jump scare scene where I guess it's the sloth guy that's chained down to the bed, and
Yes, yeah.
the guy gets up to him, the cop gets up to him and is like, "You got what you deserved," or whatever. And then he wakes up and scares the shit out of him. Like that's such a great jump scare too. And Kevin Spacey's great in it. God bless his heart for, you know, whatever else Kevin Spacey's been doing, but he was great, you know, in that movie. As was Morgan Freeman. He's pretty much great in everything. Brad Pitt's running around. He's fine.
I was going to ask
I mean,
your thoughts on Brad Pitt.
there's not many movies except for maybe like I could point out that I like Inglourious Bastards would be one of them that I really, really like Brad Pitt in.
True Romance.
What was the one you said?
True Romance.
He just lays on the couch. Yeah, that's a great one.
No Fight Club?
Yeah, I never really fucking got into Fight Club, man. We'll come to that later on too.
Okay.
But like, what's the one? The Guy Ritchie one. I really liked him in that.
Snatch?
Snatch?
Yeah, where he played the gypsy. Yeah, that one was great too. And he was also really good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So
Yeah.
I guess those would be like my picks. But like most time when I see Brad Pitt in something, I'm just like, give a shit. So 4 would be 7. Then 3 is going to be Die Hard with a Vengeance. I think Die Hard with a Vengeance is, well, I don't think it is my favorite like Die Hard sequel of like all of them. I think it's great.
Same.
I think that's probably because of Samuel L. Jackson. Like that's like a great combination of people, you know, to have Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson try to like solve, you know, these riddles together. Jeremy Irons is great in it too, is like, you know, the heel, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Alan Rickman or anything, but he's very good in the part. And the all the set pieces where they have to like get from one place to the other in like a certain amount of time and defuse this bomb and yada 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 and all this other stuff were great. It's got some great like one-liners in it, the way that they talk to each other, and it's like a buddy cop movie, except they're not. Samuel Jackson's not a cop, but
Yeah.
I really like it a lot. It's the only one that I think really got close to capturing like how good the first one was.
Yeah,
So-
very entertaining, great pace, really
Yeah.
cool action set pieces. Love it.
My number 2 is going to be Heat. Heat is like the quintessential mid-90s film, really, to me. And it's Pacino and De Niro and Val Kilmer and like everybody in the world you can imagine at one time based on a true story, which the true story is almost crazier than that fucking movie, really. Like,
Mm-hmm.
about the bank robbery and everything, and how like they took on the entire police force with body armor and like
Yeah.
so much weaponry. But I thought Val Kilmer was great in that movie, as did I mean, De Niro and Pacino are always great. It's got the scene in it where like I think it was their first scene together, where they're in
The restaurant.
the restaurant,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like De Niro's like if I have to take you down, I will not hesitate, and blah blah. And Pacino's like, brother, if I have to stop you, fucking, I will shoot you. Because by that time, Pacino had become like a Southern gentleman or something like that. He's a weird, lower register, like Southern accent kind of voice. But the action scenes in that movie are great, like really second to none. And hold on to your panties, because my number one film of 1995 is
Congo?
in. How'd you know? Just for Tim Curry, yeah.
Stop eating my sesame cake.
Yep. In the Mouth of Madness.
Awesome.
So here's the thing. That movie is so layered upon layered with shit in it that if I had not watched like a bunch of like bonus features and documentary kind of style footage and stuff about that movie, I would have no idea all the stuff that really went into that movie and all the things you find out, that are kind of in that movie without you really knowing that they're in that movie. And it's like a world built upon on top of another world. And so well done by Carpenter, though, in the way that it's shot. I think it might be like one of the most underrated horror films still to this day ever. Because there's so much good shit going on in that movie that people don't notice, like right off the bat. And it's one of those movies too where nothing is overtly explained to you exactly about what in the hell is going on. And I love movies like that where it's like they leave it to you to kind of interpret like what in the hell is happening in this movie. Like, was he crazy the whole time? Did he go crazy? Is he in the book? Like, what is actually happening? But it's one of my favorite Carpenter films. It's one of my favorite movies just in general from that time period. It's got Sam Neill in it, so I know that CK hates it too, which makes me want to put it further up on the list. But that's my 1995 rankings.
Well, I mean, first I love In the Mouth of Madness. I remember last time we talked, we wasn't sure if it was 94 or 95.
It's 95. I just checked it. The 94 comes from, it was released in Italy around like the end of the year in like December or something.
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
And United States release was February of 95, so it's 95.
But I guess my list, I mean, for honorable mentions, I mean, I do love In the Mouth of Madness. I do love Outbreak. So I guess I would fit those in there. I also fit two more, which I'll do quickly. Mortal Kombat. Love the film. I think it's just fun. The CGI doesn't help.
No.
But I do like the cast, and I just like the simple, like, martial arts fight sequences. I like the characters. Got a killer soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's a very fun martial arts popcorn movie. And for a video game movie, it was actually pretty stellar, I thought.
It's still the best movie we have for the game, so.
Yeah.
I got no complaints.
And yeah, Freddie Lit with the super chat. Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness he said, yeah, it's a reference to At the Mountains of Madness. Yep, it's a very H.P. Lovecraft. I'm sure that was the big point of In the Mouth of Madness was H.P. Lovecraft. But the honorable mention, I wanted to put this in the top 5, but it was tough because there's a lot of films I like. Virtuosity. I love Virtuosity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my personal favorite Denzel film. I know that sounds crazy. It's just, I know he did that because his kid wanted him to do it, but I like Russell Crowe. He's very unhinged and crazy, and it's supposed to be all these serial killers. I like some of the lines of dialogue he has. You know, just because I have the memories of killing your family doesn't mean we can't be friends. Like all this other stuff. And I think it's the best film that director's done. Brett Leonard, who did The Lawnmower Man. And I just really had a ball with that movie. It just, I like the story. I like the sci-fi elements. Yeah. Yeah, Bronson, that is a good one. Won't be on my list, but it's a good one. But to get in the top 5, I'm going to throw a curveball right from the get-go. Because I have watched this film a couple times. I really do like it. My number 5 is The Mangler.
Hell yeah. Robert Englund, bulls.
Yeah, and Ted Levine. I know it's so weird of a plot, but that's kind of charming to me to make a movie on that. And I just like the way it looks.
You saying a haunted laundry press is a fucking stretch? No, it ain't.
Bit of a stretch. But you know what? If you're going to do that plot, Tobe Hooper, it felt like he tried. And with no disrespect, it seemed like the last couple of movies he wasn't really trying or something. This one, just the way it looks, the way the camera moves, the way the set design was. Robert Englund is having a lot of fun. You know, hell's bell, Giselle. The accent he was given. I loved it. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'll tell you right now, that movie is, people shit on it, but it's really underrated, man. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess I kind of understand the hate for it just because of the story alone.
Yeah.
But I mean, the execution of it is really good, in my opinion.
And I love Ted Levine. It was good to see him as a good guy. I love his dialogue, whether it be when he's talking to his brother-in-law. Reality bullshit. This is reality. This is bullshit, Mark. Not you, Mark, the other Mark in the movie. But
I love it too, so.
And the gore's really cool too. You got some really nice looking grisly gore, especially the unrated version. Mm-hmm. So number 4, Heat, for the same reasons he put it on. I love the cast. Val Kilmer, Pacino, De Niro. Great to see those two actors together. Interesting that Pacino was supposed to play a coke addict, and that's why he's acting so crazy.
Yeah.
She got a big ass. You put your head all up it. Michael Mann's fantastic director, whether it be Collateral, whether it be Manhunter, whether it be this film, and he really shows what he could do. The bank heist scene is, and I love the finale on the airport hangar, the way it's directed, the way the suspense is built up, this true cat mouse between these two individuals. Beautiful music, including I believe it's Moby, the song, the music at the end. I thought it was such a fitting way. And even though it's like a 3-hour movie, I don't feel it because I'm just really into the story and really into the cast. And it's hard to beat that film. It's a really good movie. Mm-hmm. Number 3, I put Friday. I love Friday with Ice Cube. I've watched that film so many times on VHS. I quoted it so many times. It's Friday. It's your day off. How the hell you get fired on your day off? And just from Tiny Lister Jr. to Bernie Mac to such a great cast in that. I love Friday. I laugh my ass on it multiple times. Each time I've seen it.
Who is the guy that it's his dad, man? Because to me, that guy steals the show.
Johnny Witherspoon.
Johnny Witherspoon, where he's walking in, you come in here, you eat up all my damn food. You got no job.
It's your ass, Mr. Postman. And funny enough, he's watching Man's Best Friend, which you showed.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
His New Light Cinema. Chris Tucker is hilarious. That really brought him into... It's still his best role. I love Friday. I just... Absolutely hilarious with a great cast. Number 2... Honestly, it would be Bad Boys. Just being an action movie fan, Michael Bay getting a start in it. I think for such a low budget they had, I thought he accomplished what he could. I think it's Martin Lawrence's funniest in that franchise, and he wasn't just he would become like more of a pansy of a character later on in the three, especially the last one. But that was a time when buddy cop films were kind of dwindling, but that one really, because of their attitude and because of the way they had chemistry with each other, I thought it really kind of stepped it up a notch. And there's many moments I still laugh with that movie, mainly because of Martin Lawrence, and I thought it was on PC with the dialogue, it was fast paced with the action, kind of what I want in an action movie. And yeah, I love the first Bad Boys. I think even if you're not a fan of Michael Bay, it was before he went over the top with it because he just getting started.
Before he became Michael Bay, exactly.
Yeah, so it just was more of just a '90s action film with big explosions. You forgot your boarding pass and really good stunts and well done shots. And Bruckheimer and the guy who passed away, who produced it, forgot his name. It was two of those guys. But Don Simpson. Yeah, Don Simpson. But yeah, and the number one is Die with a Vengeance, for the reasons Uncle Bill said. I agree, it's the best Die Hard sequel. Jeremy Irons is Simon Gruber. Like you mentioned, Bruce Willis and Sam are so good together with each other. Mm-hmm. You hate me because I'm white. No, I hate you because you'll get me killed. It's just the way they went back and forth. Why do you keep calling me DeJesus? Do I look Puerto Rican to you? It's Zeus, as in Father Apollo, as in I'm going to shove a lightning bolt up your ass, Zeus. That was a great way to step it up with a sequel. I like Die Hard 2, but Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favorite of the sequels. And like you said, the set pieces, whether it be the subway scene, especially love the taxi cab through the park.
Yep.
Are you aiming for these people? Maybe that mime. But yeah, I love Die with a Vengeance. I think I saw it in the theater for my birthday, and nice. That was a great birthday present. So, because I love those kind of movies. So, good big budget popcorn action movie.
Oh yeah.
What you got, Mark? What's going on?
I just like to say I'm a little disappointed. Nobody said Tu Wong Fu, Powder. I mean, what's going on?
Ain't nobody's gonna say Powder. Let me tell you.
Last gasp. Nobody.
No,
come on.
No.
All right.
Holy shit.
Well, some of the ones that you guys already mentioned were my honorable mentions, but I got so many fucking movies on here, I might as well switch it up. That's why I list like 10 honorable mentions, just in case you guys mentioned those already. So one of them, and I mentioned this one in the last one, honorable mention, Dead Presidents. Yep. It's probably my favorite Hughes Brothers movie. I think it's their best movie. I know everybody loves Menace to Society, but this one has a lot more to say, I think. A lot of tragedy, definitely downbeat endings, but I do like the bits of action that is in there. Although the action isn't necessarily meant to be fun, which is kind of weird because it's always sort of depressing anyway, just because certain people get killed that you don't want to see get killed. But still some great performances, great cast. So yeah, that's Dead Presidents. Another honorable mention, and I'm not trolling when I say this, Toy Story.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
It's such a fun animated movie. As a matter of fact, I don't think I had any animated movies on any of my lists, but that's one that I just couldn't pass up. I mean, I've seen that movie so many times that I could still watch it. The third one especially is probably my favorite sequel. But yeah, that first one is great. It's really fun stuff. I mean, if I had a kid, that's definitely one that I'd be showing them. That'd be one of the first. And then last honorable mention, Larry Clark's Kids, which is still controversial to this day.
Yeah, I had that on there on my list. I just didn't list it as like an honorable mention, but that's a great one to pick out.
Yeah, I mean, dialogue-wise, I mean, it's so close to what I'm sure Harmony Korine heard walking around when he was walking around the streets in New York. You know what I mean? Like it's straight out of like kids at the skate park from that time.
Yep. Straight
I-
to fucking hell.
I agree, Crater. So I'm gonna double stack my number 5 and number
You ain't
6.
double. No, you can't double stack. This ain't Wendy's. You
Look.
can't double stack shit on here.
You guys didn't do it, so I got to do it.
All right.
So I mean, he said Bad Boys. That would be my double stacker one. For all the same reasons you mentioned Rambo. It's a great score. I love the action. I've told you a million times I love the dialogue in it. All the improv and stuff. That's when those two guys were literally at their prime. I mean, they hadn't even peaked yet in terms of their acting careers or anything. And oddly enough, I think Martin Lawrence was probably even the bigger star at the time because I think he had already directed his own movie. I think he was a bit bigger. I know he did his stand-up and all that stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, love Bad Boys. Number 5, Strange Days. So we mentioned plenty of times before as well that Cameron's career, it's 84 to 94, not much else thereafter.
Yeah.
But this one was 95, and this was a screenplay that he wrote with Jay Cox, and it's honestly one of my favorite things that he's done. It's got like this really interesting piece of technology that has dreams that are sold to you, or experiences. Sort of like Total Recall, but you don't have to be strapped down to a chair to experience it all. And that's Ray Fiennes' character. You also have Tom Sizemore. Juliette Lewis is great.
Probably quite a bit better acting too.
Michael Wincott as well. Just a great cast. Some really cool action scenes. Also directed by Catherine Bigelow. Yeah, it's one people need to check out if they have not seen. And number 4, another one Rambo mentioned, Mortal Kombat. I'm a big fan of the video game. I know all about the lore. It's probably the closest one we have to the lore. It's still a whole lot of fun. I enjoy the fighting. CGI, as he mentioned, does not hold up, but you can look past that because there's just so much fun to be had with it.
Can any of you hear the name Mortal Kombat is in the movie without hearing that fucking song? Because whenever anybody
No.
says Mortal Kombat, the immediate thing I think of is Mortal Kombat. You start
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Patch Adams. Yeah.
For good reason.
You didn't like Patch Adams? Shh, Rambo, buddy. God damn it. That's a feel good movie of the year right there.
You mean
classic,
the
right?
girl killed herself? Because he's like, anybody could come in and clone serial killers.
Yep.
And then he's like, please forgive me. I just want to give laughter to the world. I know this guy killed this lady.
Fucking
But please
Patch
forgive
Adams.
me. I just wanted to bring laughter to the poor. Not fucking hell. I love Robin Williams, but not for that movie.
No.
He's trying to bring laughter to sick children.
It give you
How
cavities.
dare
What
you.
give you? That's a movie that gives you cavities. Sorry.
All right.
Mark.
No, you're fine. Where was I at? Number 3. I'm a sucker for anthology horror, and I have to put this on here. Tales from the Hood. I saw this movie so many fucking times. It's not even funny. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a first watch on cable, then moved to VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. I'd buy it again if it came out on 4K. I love the movie that much. All 4 stories in it, I think, are really interesting and fun. Another exceptional cast as well, which I won't go into because it's so many stories and it's just a whole lot to go through. But yeah, we all know Tales from the Hood. We're all horror fans here.
One quick. Did you see the sequels to that?
I tried to watch part 2. I shut it off. I couldn't.
I did too. Like I really gave it an
Okay.
honest effort, but it was horrible.
Quick, do you know how many people wonder? They think I have the doll from Tales from the Hood.
That's
They think
what it looks like.
It does look like that.
So many people tell me. I'm like, so I'm Corbin Burnson. I'm just some southern racist. They just I have the souls of Black Men behind me. Watch out, Mark.
You got the Confederate flag in the other corner.
Yeah, I wear it as a T-shirt. Wear it outside. I love Dukes of Hazzard.
Wait a minute now. You can't fucking lump in Dukes of Hazzard with just being racist.
I just because Confederate flag, and then they banned it because they had the Confederate flag.
That's
on the
true.
car.
What's it got on it now? Just like the Trump
Nothing.
MAGA,
They don't show
MAGA fucking sign on it or something.
it.
MAGA.
Oh.
Okay. Number 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance. You guys have mentioned all the reasons why. It's still, to me, the best sequel. Unfortunately, given the state of Bruce Willis's health and all that stuff, we won't get any more sequels, which is probably a good thing. Not for what he's going through, just that the last Die Hard was awful. Yep. So it's best leave it on a high note. That movie doesn't exist to me. I just think of part 4.
Well, they'll remake it. Eventually. That's the
God.
truth.
I
it.
really don't want that to happen, but you're right. It probably will, because that was Fox, so Disney has it, right?
Yeah, it'll be on Hulu, or it'll be like Alien Romulus.
Oh Jesus! Thanks, Rambo. I didn't want to think.
Just
about
being
that.
honest, it'll be a prequel.
Yeah.
Die Hard Year Zero.
And then my number 1, so we can speed this up. We're already at 47 minutes and we're still on 95. Desperado.
Okay.
Why don't you come to your senses? Not that Desperado, right? Okay. I fucking hate the Eagles. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that to y'all before, but like I really fucking
come from?
hate the Eagles. They just fucking it's like shit you listen to when you're at the dentist office or something. Like every time I go to the dentist, they've got some fucking Eagles song playing, and I hate all those guys, especially Don Henley, his old fucking greedy ass putting copyright strikes on everybody that even like says anything about the Eagles. We'll probably get a copyright strike on this video because I'm
coming.
saying this right now. Pieces of shit.
Hey, don't worry, the dude agrees with you. He hates the Eagles too.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my list. Desperado, though, number 1 for me. I love the shooting and all the action sequences, top notch. Still probably his best movie. Hell, what's the last thing Rodriguez has done that you guys really enjoyed?
That's a good question.
Grindhouse.
That was 2007?
Well, I know, but afterward he did what's Battle Elite Angel, that awful Ben Affleck Hypnotic movie, Spy Kids sequels.
Yeah.
I've got to look this up and just see what the fuck he's done. We did this once before, I feel like. But I don't feel like he's done a whole lot of anything.
I didn't mind Battle Angel, but yeah, other than that, hell, there's like nothing.
Okay. Here are the movies that he has directed as of late. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Produce. I don't want producer. I want director. I'm sure he's produced 9 million things.
Mm-hmm.
Writer. No, here we go. Okay. So 2023 Spy Kids Armageddon. That's a favorite. Hypnotic was in 2023 with Ben Affleck. Y'all remember that one? I don't, because I didn't fucking see it. I never will. The book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
The miniseries.
Yeah. I forgot he had it.
I don't know what the hell this is. Did he do a damn Billie Eilish something? I think he did some sort of Billie Eilish documentary. Yeah.
He might have.
In 2021. Then We Can Be Heroes in 2020. Which
for
looks
just
like
one day?
A kid's movie, yeah. He did episodes of The Mandalorian. Lady Gaga. Red 11 in 2019. I'm just going for movies now. Hold on. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For in 2014 would have been his next actual full length movie. Machete Kills in 2013, which sucked.
Yeah.
Spy Kids 4. Machete was 2010, depending on how you feel about that movie. I thought that one was okay. And then Planet Terror was 2007. So, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I hate
it ain't great.
too.
What did happen? I would love
I
to
don't
know
know.
the backstory there.
I don't know. But all I know, Desperado, I'm going to say that's his best movie. I mean, hell, all that dialogue with Tarantino and just all those great scenes, a lot of memorable stuff in that movie. Especially, I even like the music. And, I mean, Salma Hayek is amazing. I think we all know that. I don't need to talk about her. But yeah, that's my list. That's 95. This was a tough year because there was a lot of other really good stuff that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Let's see what some people in the chat have got real quick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all these, but we'll go with what we can. Friday, Tales from the Hood, Heat, Casino, and the Mouth of Madness Honorables, Crimson Tide, Goldeneye, which I think was a much better video game than it was a movie, honestly. 7, Mortal Kombat, and The Usual Suspects. I got people putting in shit from 1996. We ain't got to 1996 yet. Hold on. Nixon, Copycat is a tie for number 5. Showgirls, Leaving Las Vegas. Really, Showgirls? Leaving Las Vegas. I actually almost put that in there as like at least number 5 because I like that movie a lot. Desperado and Kids, and then Casino is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Is Casino, here's the question for the fucking decade. Is Casino better than Goodfellas?
I like Goodfellas.
Which one is better? Yeah.
I would say Goodfellas. Only because you have the added advantage of having Ray Liotta in there. So you still get Pesci,
No.
you get De Niro, and then you get Ray Liotta. So
The Prophecy. I didn't even think about that one. 12 Monkeys, Rob Roy. He's got some interesting takes in there. Die with a Vengeance, of the Mouth of Madness, Desperado, 7, and Heat. That is, yeah. Saturn Video. So, okay. That is true. It does have Joe Bob in it. I forgot about that.
that's true. And James Woods.
Yeah, it's like, can you just do us a favor and keep him in there? I can't do it. And then he's like, you people think you can come down here? You're going to find out. Get Shorty, Heat, Apollo 13, 7, and The American President. It's an interesting list, too. All right. 1996, which I knew was going to be a good year because I knew of at least 2 movies that came out that year that are fucking bangers. So, honorable mentions will go to Hellraiser Bloodline, which is still one of the most underrated Hellraiser films and horror films ever. And Angelique will always be one of the most underrated characters. Any of those. I will also give honorable mention in that year to Cemetery Man, which I hated when I first saw it, and then went back and watched it and liked it a whole hell of a lot more. So for that reason, I will put Cemetery Man in there. It's a movie that almost is unlike any other movie. Very weird zombie existential kind of movie. And then I guess I'll put this is my last one there, the Craft. I always liked The Craft. It's a really interesting movie to come out. Like, they don't make witch movies, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's just not something that happens. And that was one of the only ones that actually worked. And by the way, the sequel or the remake or whatever the fuck that is, that movie that just recently came out with David Duchovny in it of all fucking people, is one of the worst movies, man. Like, I think people should watch that just to see how bad that is. You really can't get an idea of how bad that is until you see, especially David Duchovny in it. Like,
Mhm.
oh, yes,
Jesus.
Kraft cheese indeed. So my number 5 is going to be Freeway. I thought that like Reese Witherspoon was amazing in that movie.
Yes.
I cannot like believe that that's the same person that would go on to make shit like, you know, Sweet Home Alabama and shit like that. You know,
Legally
those
Blonde.
legal, you know, those fucking rom-coms and all that stuff that got really, really popular. But in this movie, she's basically playing like a dumbass, but it's like she's street smart, but she's not at all like intelligent. And she's going up against this guy who's intelligent, but not at all like street smart. And the whole movie is just based on that, really, like a cat and mouse game between the two of them. And one of my favorite scenes in any movie from the 90s is the courtroom scene where she sees him coming in. And she's like, holy shit, you look awful. And starts like laughing at him and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That whole sequence is hilarious where he's trying to look pitiful. He's like drooling on himself and stuff. But she's great throughout that movie, as is Kiefer Sutherland. And yeah, it's such a unusual movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of the most un-PC movies of around that time period. Like, nobody in that movie really gets treated politically correctly or anything. Like, it's just, even her mother, there's the whole like front part where Amanda Plummer is her mother and like she's a drug addict, and that's like really memorable because it's so believable. And then, you know, social services comes in, they've been in like 15 times, and she ends up in the girls' home and all that. That's all those sequences are great and really, really pulled off by the fact that Reese Witherspoon is really, really good in that movie. So Vinegar Syndrome actually has that out in a pretty killer like 2-pack.
Did you like part 2?
I did like part 2. Yeah, I don't think I liked it as much as Freeway, but not at all. But like Confessions of a Trick Baby is just
It's
fucking
it's
out
just as
there.
crazy, maybe
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah, it might be even a little bit crazier. My number 4 is a film that you, when I say it, what it is, you'll automatically hear a voice in your head. And since 1996, apparently this voice has never left my head. But my number 4 is Sling Blade. I think that might be one of the best American-made films of that whole decade, honestly. Because Billy Bob Thornton becomes completely unrecognizable in that movie, and is like the character that he plays. You go back and watch that now, and you don't doubt for one fucking second that guy's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just completely like gone inside that character.
Yeah, it's the type of performance that like you just would never see, and you know you haven't seen it before or since. Like it's completely unique. I mean, the haircut, the way his mannerisms, the way he dresses, he talks, like everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, to think that that's the same person once you see Billy Bob Thornton and you know how he is, and great dialogue in that movie too. Like, I know he wrote the script and everything, but it's written so well and acted so well also. It had to be in my top 5. My number 3, like I had some trouble with because I was thinking about like putting 2 different movies in there, but I'm not going to do that because we're going to be legitimate here. But my number 3 was either going to be a dead ass serious movie, or it was going to be a comedy. But I had to end up eventually like picking the comedy. So my number 3 was Kingpin, which I think is probably like my favorite comedy of that time period too. Because there's so many reasons. Because ultimately, like, it's got great jokes in it and everything too, but it's ultimately it doesn't turn out like you really want it to. Like, he doesn't win. I mean, he does. He has a redemption arc and everything, but like he doesn't win the big game or anything like that. He gets his ass kicked, and like it's just more true to like probably what would actually happen in something like that. But Bill Murray is
Bill
fucking
Murray's hair at the end.
yeah. Bill Murray is the whole show, really. I think Randy Quaid's great too, actually, but Bill Murray's probably like steals the show from everybody. So many good scenes in that movie. I don't even know where to begin. He's got the fucking bowling ball with the flower in it, the rose in it at the end,
Yeah.
and all the stuff with what's his name in that movie? It's Randy Quaid's name in the movie, his character's name.
God, I forgot.
Hamish, is it Hamish or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Ishmael?
Ishmael. Yeah.
Ishmael. Okay. Yeah. So all the stuff with when he goes and visits the fucking Amish, like, he's like, "I milked the cow for you." He's like, "We don't have a cow. We got a bull though." He's got like milk shit all over him. Well, not
ain't
milk,
milk.
but you know what I mean? Yeah. That's great. It's just a great comedy. And then of course the scene, and we used to fucking do shit like this in high school to each other with Lynn Shay.
Yeah. She's like his landlord or something.
It's like he sees her in the fucking rear view mirror when he's like driving. That's such a great scene. I think she's got a line that fucking killed me the first time I heard it, where she says something like, "There's nothing like taking a big shit after great sex," or something like that. And she's sitting in the bathroom. Oh god.
Yeah, he's like puking in the toilet.
Yeah. Okay, so then that would leave my number 2 is From Dusk Till Dawn. Oh,
That's my number 2.
love that movie. That was Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino and everybody like at the height of their powers and doing like, doing what they did. It was kind of like the perfect combination of action, vampire, that dialogue, that kind of dialogue, really cool like weapons against the vampires. Harvey Keitel was great in that movie. That's an underrated piece of that movie too, is how good Harvey Keitel is in that as the dad too. But even kind of like George Clooney in that movie. I fucking really don't like George Clooney. Like, I mean, George Clooney's one of them guys that just kind of pops up and he's like just big pancake headed motherfucker, and he doesn't. He's just there. He just kind of takes up space, but he's actually really good in From Dusk Till Dawn. Savini's got the cock gun. It's the best thing Savini's ever done in anything. Juliette Lewis is great, as she normally is.
More Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek, yeah. How could I forget like the dance sequence in that? Like that's got to be one of the most memorable sequences too of that time period.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting moist just thinking about it. So that is
We all are.
yeah, my number 2. This is From Dusk Till Dawn. You know what number 1 has got to be, man.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Fucking got to be.
Escape
Because
from LA.
let me I'll beat the shit out of you. I swear to God, Mark. Yeah.
Independence Day is great.
That's it. The line, what is that fucking line? Your eyes are so blue. It's a shame there's only one. The fucking Bruce Campbell in Escape from LA. Hate that movie. I will say this: don't ever say you hate Escape from LA to John Carpenter, because like he does not take that well.
I like Escape from LA, so I'd never say that.
Oh, so the number 1 is Scream.
Same
Man,
here.
like horror was dead. It was deader than fucking disco at that time period. If people weren't around like to know that, then you didn't really know that. But like, I mean, as far as like mainstream stuff coming out, like it was as dead as it's ever been from like 90. Jesus, man, from like 90 really to 96. And then like Scream was the movie that made everybody want to go back and like watch horror films and not just watch horror films in the theater. It made people want to go back and like actually like watch old horror films that they were referencing in the movie as well. So that
Studios
everybody, yeah,
interested in producing more slasher
yeah,
flicks too. So yeah,
everybody
it's,
like that likes horror films owes a debt of gratitude to Scream because it brought back a lot of like classic horror films, interesting classic horror films, as well as like brought them back on the map too. And after that movie, it just opened the floodgates again for fucking horror movies to start coming back out because that one was so successful. The opening scene is still great. It's not
yes.
like it was when you first see it, but it's like because I've seen it probably I don't know 50 times now. But like when you first saw that movie or that scene in the movie theater,
Mhm.
like it was so good. You never see anything like that. Like the guy on the phone with the voice changer and he's, running
Mhm.
around all that shit and giving you like trivia. It was the meta part of the trivia, like and stuff too about horror film. For somebody that likes horror movies, that was kind of like a wet dream. So,
Oh
and then it,
yeah, I mean,
uh,
I found myself like trying to guess all the questions while she was being asked the questions. I'm coming up with
yeah,
the answers while I'm in the
yeah.
theater.
And I was a teenager at that time when that movie came out and went and saw it at the theater. And it was like everybody saw that movie. Like every fucking person I knew went to the movie theater and saw that movie, and it was like a huge phenomenon.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So Scream is my number one, and that is my 96.
Cool.
Very cool. For me in '96, like it was tough because there's a lot of movies. Uh, for me, each of these years it was tough. Uh, Honorable mentions, a few of them. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Really enjoy that one with Gina Davis and Sam Jackson. I thought it was one of Rennie Harlan's more underrated films. I think it has some really good set pieces. I like that take place around Christmas. I think Shane Black had a hand in writing it, I believe. Could be wrong on that. But yeah, I always thought it was a bit of an underrated one. Happy Gilmore, the first one, very funny, very hilarious. Um, Are you too good for your home? Answer me. Suck my white ass balls. um, and I mean, there's Swingers, which I enjoy. I thought that was a fun one with John Favreau. The Frighteners, that's a very underrated one with Michael J.
Yeah,
Fox.
it is.
But to get to number 5, I really enjoy this movie. It's a popcorn entertainment film called Twister. Always
Hmm.
liked Twister. Uh, always liked. I love Bill Paxton. May he rest in peace. It was great to see him the lead in the role. I always liked Helen Hunt. It was cool to see Philip Seymour Hoffman and Alan Ruck in there. I like the concept of dealing with twisters, maybe because I grew up in Iowa. So, of all the disasters, that's the one that would be the one that would happen. So, I think for the time, the effects did what they could. I like the musical score. I like the team that they had, the camaraderie. I love the stories they told about each other, like Bill's character getting drunk and going out naked and told the tornado to have a drink and threw the
Mm.
bottle. Oh, that was another Bill. That was an evil Bill, and I killed him. Which I displayed to his new girlfriend. Uh, did not like the new one that came out. It was just a lame remake. But I thought the first one had its heart in the right place. I really like that team. And it's also nice to rewatch again because I like Bill Paxton. I like Phil Seymour Hoffman. I think they were good actors. I miss those guys. So it's nice to rewatch that. It's one of the ways to be able to revisit those guys again. So number 5 would be Twister. Number 4, I honestly would say is one of the best direct-to-video films uh, out there. Tremors 2 Aftershocks.
Mm.
I'm a
Hmm.
big Tremors fan. And the fact that they did a direct-to-video sequel and it was that good, I was fairly impressed. I like the addition of the new creatures that were could see heat. I like that Fred Ward got to be the lead. I thought Marco Gross had even more to do in the sequel. I liked Helen Shaver. I always liked her as an actress. I could deal with the new guy. It's not my favorite, but hey, Kevin Bacon didn't want to come back. That was his choice. But again, for a direct-to-video sequel, I thought it actually looked pretty good. I thought it was competently directed. It was fun. And again, it's better than a direct-to-video sequel has any right to be. And when 90% of them suck, you kind of notice the more good ones, and that I thought was the last truly good of that franchise. And I'm a big fan of those two films, so I had to put that on my list at number 4. Number 3, From Dusk Till Dawn, for the same reason said. The cast, the effects. I love the mix of the Pulp Fiction type crime movie, then it becomes a vampire story. I love the dialogue in it. Were they psychos? Do they look like psychos? Psychos don't explode when sunlight hit them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are. I love the inventiveness. If the weapons, I always loved the George Clooney got the jackhammer thing with the stake. Never seen that type of weapon before. I thought that was really cool. You mentioned the cock gun, which was supposed to be used for Desperado, but they cut the whole action finale, so they put it in this.
Where is that from Trick or Treat Studios? I want the cock gun.
They should put that out.
That would be amazing. I'm
Yeah.
being serious. It would be awesome.
It would
I'm
sell.
surprised. Yeah, it would. It would sell out immediately. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, would you have been curious to see the original version that the guy from KMB was going to direct?
Joe Pilato
Yeah.
version. I would have loved to have seen that version, man. Like just looking at the trailer that I've seen of it and everything, like there's I mean, I would have liked to have seen what he did with that. I really would have.
It was
Like,
Kurtzman.
Yeah, Robert Kurtzman. Yeah, I mean, he did Wishmaster, so you know he can direct. And Pilato is fucking great at chewing up scenery. I've always wanted to see that rendition of that movie.
Yeah.
No.
I would too. In another universe, it would be nice to see that. And it's my favorite George Clooney film. I think it's easily his best performance. And Tarantino, I mean, he can act. He could play a scumbag very well.
Mm-hmm.
And
For some reason, that's the only movie I ever really thought Tarantino was worth fuck in, and I don't know why that is. But like in From Dusk Till Dawn, he kind of pulls that off. Like I don't
Yeah,
know,
he
maybe
does.
that
foot fetish freak.
foot fetish psychopath.
Maybe
So I
that's
don't know
why.
what that tells you. Yeah, but yeah.
But yeah, love From Dusk Till Dawn. Number 2, I'm gonna go outside. It's a film no one really knows about, but it's a film that I like rooting for the underdog, especially for like low budget. Like for low budget horror, for me, a lot of times low budget action films. And it's one that called Deadly Outbreak with Jeff Speakman. This is more of like a personal favorite, just because I really like Jeff Speakman. I thought he got a bit of a raw deal after The Perfect Weapon. I think he could have been a much bigger action star. Of the films he did after that, I thought Deadly Outbreak was the best. It's a very typical story. It's a Die Hard type of story. But I thought for a direct-to-video film, it actually has some really good action, explosions, fight scenes. Ron Silver is your villain, who is the villain in Time Cop. And, I mean, you got Jeff Speakman beat this shot of the guy with a shotgun, shoots him in the balls, and says, "I guess you forgot your bulletproof cup." You know, not many movies do that. So, Sally, never been a DVD of it officially, only on VHS. Was a DVD in Germany for a little bit, but good luck finding it. It was on Tubi at one point as Daily Takeover. I don't think it's there anymore. But again, if you like those kind of 90s, just simple, straightforward, action-packed films, and if you like Jeff Speakman, it's his next best to The Perfect Weapon. And again, as a guy that I'm a big fan of, I wish he got to do more. That was at least something that he got to do.
I've never seen it, but I definitely want to see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on Tubi. It used to be on Tubi. I'll need to check after this, but and then number one, just to piss Mark off.
Oh,
Not
man.
really, but
Where are we
Broken
going with this?
Arrow.
Oh,
Killer.
I
Christian
love
Slater.
oh boy.
I love Broken Arrow tremendously. Just like you love Face Off, I love Broken Arrow.
Mm.
I love John Travolta. I think he's a lot of fun. He's having a ball. I love Christian Slater in it. I think it's John Woo doing an American film very well. It has some really good stunt work, has some really good set pieces, helicopters like this close to people, crashing right in front of them, a whole train sequence where they're on a real train. Howie Long gets killed by getting his ass kicked through a fucking train. He can't get
Howie Long. I forgot he's in that fucking movie.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I mean, you've put it over so many times, and I haven't seen it since. Oh my god, like maybe early 2000s. So I'll give it another shot.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo. You got, I think one of Hans Zimmer's best scores that they stole and they put in Scream 2, which is Dewey's theme. That boom, 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 boom. That's from Broken Arrow. So they took it from that. Long story short, because they put a temp score, they liked it so much, so they bought it and then put it for doing the Scream sequels. But yeah, Broken Arrow, I just thought was such a. It had John Woo style, but I like the actors. I even like the lady. She was in Mario Brothers, Samantha Mathis. I find it to be a very fun, underrated popcorn movie. So I've always enjoyed Broken Arrow. And John Travolta, he's been over the top, but not enough for me to be annoyed by him. It was just, goddamn, what a rush. I just was really liked his performance. So, yeah, Broken Arrow for me is my number one favorite of that year for those reasons.
Cool. It's good stuff. So I'm going to start with honorable mentions and then work my way to number 5 for the double stack, of course.
Shit. He's got more double stacks in a biggie bag over here, boys.
So you mentioned Freeway. That's an honorable mention for me as well, for all the reasons that you listed. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to speed through the other honorable mentions. Set It Off, I think, is a good one. Somewhat depressing ending, but I think it's still got something there. It's one of the earlier F. Gary Gray films, and I think he would only go on to be better as a filmmaker. But this one, I think, still has something to it. I like the cast, and it's got some cool shootout sequences. Last honorable mention, Larry Cohen's last flick, Original Gangsters.
That's right.
You got Robert Forster, Jim Brown, Pam Grier. Just fun movie about gang crime in the 90s. I mean, how could you not enjoy that? And it's Larry Cohen, so got to give it a shot. All right, jumping into number 5. Number 6 is one that you said, Rambo. It's Long Kiss Goodnight. Rennie Harlan's movie is vastly underrated. I mean, that doesn't even have a 4K or anything, does it?
No.
Yeah, that's crazy. So many cool sequences, and a lot of great dialogue with Sam Jackson as well. Some really cool one-liners, and Gina Davis is hot, so hot in that one. Mm-hmm. Especially once she becomes a blonde. Love that.
What's her name? Charlie, I think.
Yeah. My official number 5 for the list is Eraser.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this rail gun, blow the house up with it.
If you're a fan of 90s action movies and you like guns, you got to watch Eraser. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but if you have not, you need to check it out.
Your luggage.
Just been erased.
Exactly. The one-liners are great.
Yeah.
James Caan is fantastic as the bad guy. He's the perfect villain in that, because it's not supposed to be so much about Arnold versus another big muscle guy as much as it is a guy who's supposed to be just conniving, sneaky, because he's pretending to be on the same side as Arnold, but he's really not, obviously. So,
And that's Chuck Russell, right?
yes, Chuck Russell. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a really fun one. Eraser is great. Love all the guns in that. Number 4, Frighteners. Saw this one in the theater. I mean, every time I think about it, just fucking Jake Busey's
Oh yeah,
his
yeah.
performance in that.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. Of course, it's over the top, but I mean, I think it's meant to be that way. It's got that, like, it's got a fine line of like, there's some horror, but it's very minimal. It's more so for played up for comedy and even fun as well. Michael J. Fox is great as the lead, I think. Does a really good job. And it's just got a really, really cool character that I really dig. I love the death figure. I love the idea of it. You know, the number pops up on your forehead if you're next. He reaches in your chest. Go ahead.
I actually think what that film was interesting to me is that it starts off as like a goofy comedy. I think it does become a horror film in the third act. Because I do think that third act is really dark with
You're talking
the
about
serial
the
killers.
theatrical cut?
Well, I mean, either cut like it's the serial killers like hunting them down, and you find out they're serial killers, and like he's got to die.
That's
then
true
he's gotta
by the
come
end,
back,
for sure.
And then
But the director's cut, I hate. It's so goofy and so much more silly, and the comedy is turned up to like 11, and I just don't like that.
I was just thinking like when Jeffrey's head gets blown up and like all that other
Yeah,
stuff.
Jeffrey Combs, yeah. He is fantastic in that as well. One of my favorite performances from him. So that's number 4, Frighteners. Number 3, Ransom. Mel Gibson and Gary Sinise play off each other so well in that movie, especially in the final sequence. You almost want Gary Sinise to get away with it, and unfortunately he doesn't. But I love how he wraps up his partners and stuff, how he takes everybody out to get the money for himself, which is great. And I've never quite seen that happen before, where he comes this close to getting the money and getting away with it all. And yeah, it also reteams Rene Russo with Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon. So yeah, that's a Ron Howard flick, very underrated. And then number 2 and 1, you guys already said. Number 2 is From Dusk Till Dawn. I mean, hell, you guys said it all. Cock guns and Selma Hayek wearing little to nothing, stripping. I mean, so yeah, that and then Scream is my number 1. I saw that in the theater. Jeez, I could still remember when that music hit. I love Marco Beltrami's score when Drew Barrymore kicks Ghostface in the balls, and then that music hits, and it's just, man, it's just so great. I love Patrick Lucier's editing. I mentioned the score by Beltrami, Wes Craven's direction, Kevin Williamson's writing. It's got everything. And it's also, especially the end, I mean, the final act, which probably will still go down as the best reveal for the killer. I mean, it's like you kind of knew who the killer was, but I mean, his motive is so damn good. I mean, he makes you feel it. You know what I mean? Skeet Ulrich really sells it. I mean, how do you not sort of sympathize with what he's doing? Of course, it's fucked up and wrong, but I mean, hell, like,
Yeah, there's so many horror films have tried to do that ending, even like the Scream sequels and stuff.
They
and
all
they all
try.
suck.
They don't. Yeah, they just
Like,
they don't live up to that original. No. So yeah, that's my list for 96.
That's a great list. All right. So let's see. What does the chat have for 96? There's a bunch on here that I didn't even know or didn't even think about for 96, but let's see. Scream, Independence Day, Sling Blade, The Rock, The People's Champion, and Happy Gilmore. The Rock, again, Ransom, From Dusk Till Dawn, Sleepers, which is a great film, and The Birdcage. Honorable mention: Mulholland Falls, Little Witches, Last Man Standing, great Bruce Willis movie, Scream, From Dusk Till Dawn, The People versus Larry Flint, and Crash. I actually thought about Crash, like in terms of putting it as an honorable mention, but that movie's fucking like way too out there for it to be in the top 5. I think for me. Jesus Christ, prosthetic leg fucking and whatnot. Fargo. Flirting with Disaster, Get on the Bus. I haven't heard that one on forever. Sling Blade and Waiting for Guffman. Long Kiss Goodnight, From Dusk Till Dawn. Citizen Ruth. I don't even know what Citizen Ruth is. If I'm being honest. Somebody throw out some information about Citizen Ruth. Freeway, Daylight. Did you not pick fucking Daylight?
Still on.
I love Daylight, but it's just there's so many to pick, and I mean I
Should've
love
double
Daylight.
stacked.
Should double stack it.
The one thing I don't like about that movie
Triple
is
stack.
the people around Stallone are so annoying. I kind of want him to leave them to die, but I feel so bad for him because he's got all these annoying assholes he's got to save.
You want Daniel Harris to die too?
All those characters are annoying, but I love
Yeah.
Daylight. But I could put it in the top 5, but there's so many.
All right. Fargo, Waiting for Guffman, The Crucible, Sling Blade, Mother Love, From Dusk Till Dawn, Erase Your Scream, Long Kiss Goodnight, and Set It Off. There's a lot of 96 on here. Fargo, Scream, Lone Star, Pusher, and From Dusk Till Dawn.
I thought about Pusher.
Ransom, From Dusk Till Dawn, Sleepers, a lot of sleepers too. Not like sleeper movies, but a lot of reference to the movie Sleepers. Escape from LA, From Dusk Till Dawn, Broken Arrow, Long Kiss Goodnight, and Matilda. My kids love Matilda. That's an interesting choice. Yeah. It's a really good movie too, by the way. Like just in general.
Nobody's got Ebola syndrome, man. What's going on?
Yeah. Did that come out in 95 or 96?
96, yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that. That's my new number 2.
Double
Take
stack.
whatever I set out and put that in as number 2. Let's see. Freeway Sleepers, 2 Days in the Valley. Honorable mentions: The Craft, Scream, Train Spotting. I thought about Train Spotting. That was the one I was going to put in before I put in Kingpin. It's either going to be Train Spotting or it was going to be that, which is such a weird 2 movies together. Says Citizen Ruth stars Laura Dern as a drug-addicted pregnant woman who's been used by pro-life and pro-choice groups to be their poster child. It's comedy. Sounds like a comedy. All right. So let's do 1997, bulls, shall we?
Sure.
1997. Honorable mentions for me. Good Will Hunting. Thought that movie was okay. As time goes by, like I like it less and less, but like at the time, like I thought it was really good. As Good as It Gets, another one that I thought was really good with Jack Nicholson around that time period. And I actually watched that movie several different times. I think I saw it in the theaters, as a matter of fact, too. And God, there's a lot of on here. Well, fuck, man. Let's go with The Game. Triple H. No, The Game with Michael Douglas as being like one. Actually, that movie is probably one of the most slept upon, underrated films ever. It was not even. It was a sleeper in 97. It was not noticed whatsoever. That movie didn't really become noticed at all until it came on, like, DVD, I guess, at that time, or VHS, whichever one was your choice.
Do you think it's because people? I mean, I love the ending, but do you think people were mad about the ending?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was just the name and the advertising for it. Like there was really no way to explain exactly what that movie was about. Like you couldn't market it, I don't think. And I think that might be a big reason why it kind of fucked up and went under the radar like it did.
But I love that one. That's one of my favorite Fincher films. I think I agree. That's very underrated.
Yeah. It's crazy because like that's a movie that I didn't hear anything about and then just saw it on like DVD or something and was blown away by it. And it's like, how the fuck did nobody talk about this movie? But they didn't.
So real quickly, without giving it away for people who haven't seen it, I love the ending, but did you like the ending, or did you feel it was a cop out? Some people felt that way.
I mean, I guess I was relieved in a way.
Yeah, me
But
too.
after all that shit, I guess that was a relief that it did turn out the way that it did. So I don't know if I can understand why people would hate it though, because
They thought it'd be 7 ending,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, exactly. Like
Mhm.
you go through all that and you think, well, there's just going to be this big, actual thing at the end, and then it turns out to be what it is. And so I could see that. But for me, I was just kind of like, I'm glad he got
Yeah,
out of all that shit. It's like, yeah.
feel the same. Yeah,
Yeah, I would have been pissed if I was him though. Just saying.
Yeah, that's a hell of a setup for So my number 5 on here, and you guys, take this for what it's worth. I feel like you guys will understand this too because you guys are both fans of this guy. My number 5 is Starship Troopers.
It's on my list.
I'm a huge fan. It's another underrated movie. That's another movie that didn't really I think people thought it was stupid. Like just the idea of it was stupid and hokey, like when it came out, and it kind of got like another life on, home video and rental and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Because people begin to see number one, holy shit, this is really gory and really action packed. But it's the director is a guy that doesn't fuck around when it comes to stuff like that. And we were talking about him last time, or maybe the time before that, I can't remember which. But yeah, as when he goes for these kind of action style movies, he goes big. Like there's explosions and people getting ripped apart and gore, and the way people die is just traumatizing still to this day. But it's also like a fun science fiction-y kind of, it's an oddball kind of movie because it mixes those two things where it's got a lot of humor and a lot of weird sci-fi elements, but then it's dead serious and gory and stuff like that. So
I do like
I love
that film. Did you like Casper Van Dien?
yeah, I mean, Catch Van Dien's fine, but
Okay.
he's kind of the ultimate G.I. Joe kind of guy. So
I mean, for what that movie is and the part that he's playing, he works. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel about him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my number 5. My
Or
look,
Jake Busey in that one too.
it's true, Jake.
Yeah.
It's heavy Jake Busey night tonight. This must have been when he was really getting all the roles.
Yeah, it was.
You'll never believe what my number 4 was. You'd never guess it if you fucking had all night. But
I know what it is.
what is it?
The Pest.
Yes, you're right.
G.I.
John
Jane.
Leguizamo. No, G.I. Jane was great though. My number 4 is Good Burger.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Listen,
okay.
man. Listen, I know, right? I know.
A lot of people like it.
But you have to understand that plays you talk about nostalgia playing a huge role in something. It
Yeah.
really does in this case, because that was just a movie that grew up watching.
Mhm.
It's a stupid fucking movie. It's got Sinbad in it, for God's sake. But I mean, it's got Dan Schneider in it too, which I'm also not exactly thrilled about. But it's one of those movies that's I'm trying to think of what it's akin to. It's like a goofy kids comedy, but adults can watch it too. I'm trying to think of another movie that would kind of be similar to Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something, I guess. It is kind of like that, but not maybe with as much fantasy stuff. So yeah, it's for all those kind of reasons I really like it. It's stupid and silly, but yeah, it's just a fun movie to me anyway.
Yeah.
What am I at? My number 3?
Yeah.
My number 3 would be Gross Point Blank. Do you guys remember Gross Point Blank? It's
Love that one.
John Cusack is
Hitman going back to his high school union.
Mhm.
yeah. And there was a time period there when John Cusack was doing really kind of off the beaten path kind of roles. And then he just started doing mainstreams to everything for some reason. But this was like right before that happened, I think. So he was like getting ready to transition into like being full force Hollywood and shit. But like this was like right before that. So it's a very quirky performance, and he plays like a really good like role as like a really quirky kind of hitman character in it. And great supporting cast too. Throughout this movie, I just love the idea of this movie too. That like a bunch of hitmen, like kind of come together, and especially the dynamic between him and Aykroyd,
Yeah.
which is great because Dan Aykroyd's like, he always plays a really, really great kind of character actor role in anything that he's into, and he's great in the movie too.
I'll put a bullet in your head and fuck the bullet hole. I think is what he said.
Yeah, it does. It does have a great soundtrack too. Yeah. Pretty much anything Cusack was in there for a while had a great soundtrack because he was really into music, like High Fidelity and all that stuff. And that's a really great soundtrack. My number 2 is CK's favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
I think it's an unsung sci-fi horror classic. It's of course Event Horizon. Man, like I could talk about this movie forever. This is probably one of the most divisive films. I should have put this in that fucking top 5 divisive films list that I did. Because like people will either love this movie or fucking absolutely hate it. But Event Horizon, when it gets to the actual like the scenes, like the hell scene, some of the most disturbing and just dark stuff that I've ever seen in a movie like that, where it's kind of like more of a mainstream popcorn kind of movie, and then you get like shit where people are tearing their eyeballs out and eating their own asses or whatever's going on in that scene, like And I love the idea of a spaceship that just like enters into hell and comes back, and then like all this stuff is left over inside the ship, and they see like bits and pieces of like what hell is really like. It's just, I love the concept. I love the execution. I love the movie. I love Sam Neill in the movie. I pretty much love that whole cast, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it's right up there, like of my top. I don't know where it would make it in my top horror films, but it's up there, like higher than you'd probably think. Event Horizon is just one of those movies that is just insanely underrated by people in the horror. I think it's got a lot to do with the CG kind of stuff in it, as well as why people don't like it as much. Because the story, I think, is great. Like it can't be the story, and it can't be the actor.
It's a cool concept to me. I mean,
I don't remember much CG in it.
Well, there's a lot of shit towards the end where it gets more like CG heavy with.
Oh, the guy's on fire.
Yeah, and that really looks bad to this day, actually, and his eyes and shit really look bad. Like Sam Neill when it starts showing that, like from
I agree. I've always enjoyed the film. I never really got the bad rap. Like you, I liked the cast. I liked it was a haunted house movie in space. They even had a way to make it where it's like you usually have lightning outside, but they do with the weather patterns beneath it, with the thunder, and sometimes it felt like The Shining in space. And I thought that was kind of a cool concept. And yeah, I've always enjoyed Event Horizon. I liked how they went with the R rating, and there's some good like production design in that. And yeah, I never thought it was bad. I like it.
Yeah, so there's people in here talking about like that they don't like the cinematography and that it was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and all that shit. I really don't. I didn't even fucking notice that. You know what I mean? Like if a movie is good enough, then I won't really even notice who the fucking director is. Like that part won't factor into it to me.
Yeah.
If Eli Roth could make a good fucking movie, like it would just be a good movie. Yeah, exactly.
Like Thanksgiving, so yeah.
And my number 1 for that year, it's kind of funny that this is my number 1 now I think about it. 2 different directors entirely. Wait, am I on number one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I'm
so.
on number one. Okay. So yeah, my number one is Chasing Amy.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's probably that's tough, but it's probably my favorite Kevin Smith film, to be honest. It takes like everything that he did right in Clerks and gives like mainstream actor people in it that can kind of carry it. And so the dialogue is still great, but then you introduce, Affleck in one of the only roles that I can really like him in. Joey Lauren Adams is amazing in it. And so is what's the guy's name? His friend.
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee. Yeah, Jason Lee's great in it. It's got such great like dialogue between the cast, like each one of them, between Affleck and Jason Lee, between Affleck and Adams, between like Adams and Jason Lee, like everybody in that like plays so well off each other like throughout the entire movie. And I just think it's kind of like you get a look at like what could have been, and then shit just steadily falls apart for Kevin Smith. But like it was the perfect storm of like him taking a lot of what worked in Clerks and then getting more to work with and making it into a great idea and a great movie. And then it never really gets realized after that though. Yeah, and the fact that the movie really doesn't work out like you think it's going to, which is great. That way too.
Good choices. I mean, yeah.
That's what I got
like
for
the list.
97.
Great.
That's why it was a bit weird when you said like 97 was a bad year, because I think like those are good choices, like Grosse Point Blank and Event Horizon and other stuff. So, I mean, for me, I had to pare it down because I had so many. I'll just go with them quick. I like Event Horizon and Grosse Point Blank, like you said. Metro, I love. I think that's one of Eddie Murphy's more underrated films.
Yeah.
My honorable mention. Yeah.
Michael Wincott is the villain. Breakdown I enjoy with Kurt Russell. G.I. Jane I enjoyed. Well, since Mark did this, I'm doing this too. So fuck you, Mark. I'm doing a double stack for number 5.
Go ahead.
So number 5, The Relic.
Okay, cool.
Monster movie I enjoy. Peter Hyams. Rest in peace to Tom Sizemore. It was my favorite role of his. I love the idea that his detective was such a superstitious guy. I thought that made it a bit more interesting. I like the idea of taking place in a museum, which you've mentioned you've been to. You've actually been to that same museum, which is very cool in Chicago.
Several times, yeah.
I like how Peter Hyams, I've always liked him as a director. Outland, many other films of his. I like the idea of the monster, and the CGI doesn't hold, like many films, pretty much anytime they do CGI in this era, it's not going to hold up the best. This is in its infant, not birth, but it's getting there. But the practical effects by Stan Winston, I like the idea they'll grow up and like tear people's heads off, like a Pez dispenser type of thing. And yeah, I like a lot of. He shot that very dark. I think it worked for that film. So, as a monster movie fan, I was a sucker for The Relic. And the other number 5 I have is a film that it's not beloved, but I've always enjoyed it. Volcano.
Fuck yeah. Pierce Brosnan, motherfucker.
No, that's totally just.
Wait, is that
Tommy Lee
Dante's
Jones.
Peak?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. See, I don't even know.
It's a ridiculous concept.
Wait, so
Don
Tommy Lee
Cheadle
Jones.
as well.
Tommy Lee Jones is in Volcano,
Yeah,
and Pierce Brosnan's in Dante's Peak.
yeah.
Why the fuck were they making so many of these movies in this time period? It was because of Twister, wasn't it? It's because Twister did so well, and then yeah, okay.
Yeah, Independence Day and Twister. So what other disaster films? And I remember Independence Day came out. They had a teaser for Volcano. They were hoping that was going to be the next big movie, and it wasn't. It didn't make any money.
Just like Deep Impact.
Yeah, which is the year
Armageddon.
after. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I-
Tsunami came out.
But I really do like Volcano. I think it's a movie where it's a silly concept, of course. It's a lava in LA. It would never happen. But I thought its ton was in his cheek. I mean, the movie even ends with the song I Love LA. I think they kind of knew what kind of movie they were making. Tommy Lee Jones is actually really good. I think Gabby Hoffman as his daughter, Don Cheadle,
Anne
Keith
Heche.
David. I liked Anne Heche in that film.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the special effects were actually really good, and like the characters have like a fun banter to them. And then when it starts, it just doesn't stop, and it's just a group of people working together to stop this problem. Which you wish there was more of that nowadays. With what's going on in the world? It does get heavy-handed, but I appreciate the message. And yeah, Volcano, I just found it really fun, and I got my money's worth on that. And I'm a big Tommy Lee Jones fan as well. It was nice to see him in the star in this big mainstream movie because he didn't get to do that too much, where he was the lead himself.
Do you like Dante's Peak more or just as much?
No,
That's a question. Question for the ages.
less.
Less. Okay.
Dante's Peak, I think, is just okay. I think it just takes way too long for things to get going, and I like Pierce Brosnan, but I think Volcano really does have a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek quality because it's in LA, and I think they knew what movie they were making, while Dante's Peak is a bit more serious.
What about the day before the day after tomorrow?
I like the first half. I hate the second half, and it ruined the movie for me.
So if you had to pick, here we go. Here's the list. You got gun to your head. You got to pick Twister, Volcano, Dante's Peak, or the day after tomorrow. What do you pick?
It would be between Twister and Volcano, and if I have to pick
Same.
right now, I will say Twister because I miss Bill. I can't help it. I miss Bill, but I do like Volcano quite a bit. I think it's a good popcorn movie, and they did all those effects for real, and so that's what it holds up pretty well. Like I think it's cool how they make it look like a cascading volcano, like lava, in a whole city, which nowadays that'd be all computer CGI, and like real fireballs and real buildings explode. I miss that kind of stuff. That's why I like going back to watch these movies, because now it's all comic book CGI computer that just gets old and tired for me. It's a video game. I like video games, but I'd rather just play them than watch them. And I miss this type of stuff when they try to do it all practical and for real. And it takes me back to that era, even for, dumb but fun popcorn movies for me like Volcano. Number 4 actually came out finally on Blu-ray, Drive. It stars Martha Costas. I think C-Team, I reviewed it on Dead Pit's channel. I know he really liked it. Him and Kadeem Hardison. Pretty much Rush Hour came out after, but I think Drive is a better version of Rush Hour. I think it has more crazy action sequences. They only had $3 million to work with, and they showed what they could on the screen. I think Mark and Kadeem Hardison worked really well together. And if you like martial arts action, it's an unsung gem of a movie, Drive. So I had to put that on the list. Number 3, incredibly underrated film, Copland. I love Copland.
That's my number 3.
You got Stallone, De Niro, Harvey Keitel. You got Michael
Peter
Rappaport,
Berg.
Peter Berg. You got Ray Liotta, who's great in it. I love Ray Liotta in that. I don't really get why critics hated it when it came out. I don't get why it bombed. I think it's one of Stallone's best performances, because he really played against type, and sadly he got punished for it, because he even said that hurt his career, that film, which is too bad. Because then he stopped taking chances like that. And that's what I would have preferred as an
I love
aging guy.
I love the scene at the end where he's got the shotgun and he's just walking down the street, after all the
Yeah.
shit goes down, and he's just and like what did he's deaf, right, in like one ear or something in the
And then
film,
they
and
blow his other ear out, so he's
yeah,
completely deaf.
Yeah, Robert Patrick shoots
disoriented.
the gun by his
Yep.
ear. Yeah.
I love that because it's a modern Western. And the way they shot it, the way they play the sound, so you're kind of in his point of view. Yeah, love that ending. That really, they really sink things in for how much I really enjoy the film. So I had to put Copland on the list. Number 2, The Fifth Element. I love The Fifth Element. It's one of my.
I forgot about that.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Bruce Willis films. I saw it in the theater, had a great time. For the most part, they use practicals, so that film is gorgeous looking. Especially if you do like the 4K and stuff. It is a gorgeous looking movie. It has such creativity because Luc Besson directed it, who did The Professional. So the costumes, the set design, the spaceships, the aliens, everything looks so unique. It's Mila Jovovich's best role because she barely says anything and she looks sexy.
Multipass.
Yeah, just don't give her a lot of dialogue, and that was for the better, honestly.
They followed that with Resident Evil. They were like, let's just fucking don't let her say a lot, and she can just do a lot of action scene.
Bruce Willis was great playing Bruce Willis. I liked seeing Ian Holm, and Gary Oldman was a lot of fun as sort of the car salesman, gun dealer, just with the acts that he was having. So again, saw it in the theater, was a great experience. I appreciate a film that so many space stuff's been done. So when you try to show a bit of creativity, which that did, it really was impressive. And number 1, put the bunny back in the box. I love Con Air to death. It's such a testosterone-driven action film.
Yeah.
Nick Cage with his bullet, John Malkovich, John Cusack, Steve Buscemi, Dave Chappelle. You have a great cast, a fantastic score, great action set pieces. It's over the top. John Malkovich is having a lot of fun. And Nick Cage just kind of went for it. But at least more subdued still, even though he's got a southern accent. But it's not like yelling and screaming and stuff.
It's great. It's a great southern accent.
I will show you God does exist. I love Con Air, so I had to put this my number 1 favorite. It's just so much fun to watch, all Sweet Home Alabama style. So Con Air is number 1 for me.
Yeah, love Con Air. It's great.
All right, Mark, you go. I'll be back, y'all. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. All right, so you mentioned Metro.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to switch this around just because if you've already said one, I might as well do a different honorable mention because I got so many on the list. There's so many I can only do 3. So I'm going to put The Jackal as an honorable mention. Very rare do you get to see Bruce Willis playing the villain in an action movie, especially any 90s action movie for the most part. So, yeah, I always liked...
he does kill Jack Black, so that's a plus.
And a very memorable scene as well. That's like the coolest fucking gun ever. So, yeah, that was great. All the many disguises. He is trying to assassinate, I believe, is it the first lady or is it the president at the time? One of the two. Either way. So he's hired to do that. And Richard Gere is the only one who's met him, but he's in prison, so he gets released. And Sidney Poitier hires him to hunt down Bruce Willis. And yeah, they just
with this Irish accent.
Which was that really necessary? He could have just played it straight, you know what I mean? Like it added nothing to the role. But anyway, it's a fun movie. Very cool, memorable sequences. So yeah, the Jackal. Another honorable mention, The Night Flyer. Miguel Ferrer, I think is really solid as the lead in that. Hopefully that one gets a release because I think it's only on DVD. But yeah, it needs an upgrade for sure. Always found that one to be fun. He's a sleazy tabloid reporter who is searching for a would-be vampire that's on the prowl and flies around in a Cessna airplane and kills people in different airports and stuff. So definitely a different type of vampire movie and one that's really fun. Honorable mention. Now, Uncle Bill said Event Horizon, which I love, but it was my other honorable mention. So I'm going to go Boogie Nights, which I always had a lot of fun with. That's one movie that I've seen several times, and I probably worn it out like I've seen it too many times because I really don't watch it as much as I used to anymore. But Thomas Jane's character is one of my favorites in there. His whole spiel at the end when he's out of his mind just on coke at the end is great. Mark Wahlberg is just Mark Wahlberg in the movie. But yeah, everybody else around him is great. Once again, you get Don Cheadle. There's also Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly. I mean, just a great cast all around. And I think we all know what Boogie Nights is.
Sure.
So, yeah. I'm going to go to number 5 just so we can speed this up. We are at 2 hours and we're only on 1997. So, number 5 is Nothing to Lose.
I love that.
Which I had to put on the list.
No Blu-ray.
No Blu-ray. Deserves one. Actually, it deserves a 4K.
We are in the
4K
fucking desert. You're not going to kill me, Freaky Jason? Please don't kill me, Freaky Jason.
I love when he shows up. He's like, welcome to hell, bitch. So Martin Lawrence is a criminal who is basically, I guess he's not carjacking. He's trying to rob Tim Robbins, who's just found out his wife is cheating on him. Or so he thinks. And so Tim Robbins is like, well, fuck everything. My life is over.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about anything anymore. And so he's at the lowest point. And that's when Martin Lawrence comes in and decides to rob him. And it's the wrong move for him because they just go on an adventure for, I guess, a couple days where they're just committing random crimes, and then they bump into other real career criminals.
Don't kill me, Freaky Jason.
Yeah.
We are in the fucking desert.
It's fantastic. Such an underrated comedy. It's a great comedy crime movie, which I'd like to call buddy crime movie. So, yeah, that's my number 5. Number 4. 1 second. Starship Troopers, which is great for all the reasons you already listed. I mean, so many cool action scenes. Denise Richards is always nice to look at. And again, we already mentioned Jake Busey. We get a lot of Jake Busey. It was also in Contact, which I think also came out in 97.
Yeah, it did.
And I thought about putting that one on here, but yeah, it's the year of Busey, man. I don't know. But yeah, Starship Troopers is great. It's a lot of fun. Just what's up?
I like the film. So, what did you guys think real quick on the characters? Aren't they pretty much Nazis? Like that was what they were going for? Because it's the whole the military kind of pushing people to believe one narrative, it's another, and that's kind of the underlying theme. Was that another aspect you guys liked about it, or was that something you thought of later? Or
well, I mean, I like so it has the, what do you call it? I don't want to say it's tongue in cheek, but it kind of is, like
satirical.
Yes, that's it. All the satire in it. I mean, it's very much like reminiscent of what's in RoboCop. All the commercials. Would you like to know more? I'm doing my part. So, I mean, I like all the different themes. I mean, not just like the upfront stuff that's on the surface. I love everything about it. I think it's just fun through and through and very unique in its own way. And I don't really care for the sequels, if you were going to ask.
Yeah.
But what about you, UB?
Yeah, I mean, it clearly wasn't a movie just solely based on bugs. You know what I mean? There's like more stuff like going on in there.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid and I saw it, I didn't think anything about it like at all. Like I
Mhm.
wasn't thinking that it was like what it was playing off of, in terms of like social commentary or anything like that. You
Mhm.
don't pick up on that shit until much later usually. So
Exactly.
I just kind of liked it for the fact it was like almost like a live action video game or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good on both levels to me.
Oh yeah. So I'll move on to number 3, Copland, which you already said was your number 3, Rambo, for the same reasons. Um, you get to see a lot of different sides to Stallone. He's not really playing that type of character around that time, so I do enjoy that. And then I want to say in the movie, Robert Patrick might be my favorite. He's just so fucking like he's like subdued, but then he can be unhinged at the same time. So always like that. He's easily the sleaziest character in the movie, which I love. I'm gonna keep just breeze through these last couple. So my number 2 is Breakdown. JT Walsh is incredible in that role. One of my favorite performances from him, I think. He really gets the best like comeuppance of any bad guy in a movie. I mean, the semi truck cab like literally landing on his face and his
Yeah.
body just it just explodes under the grill of that truck. So yeah, that's amazing. Just the concept too. I mean, the fact that those guys were kidnapping people, just picking people out of the hat to go after, and I would guess that like they had to be killing people. I mean, they don't. It's never
Oh
shown,
yeah.
but it's very much implied because I think he goes to like JT Walsh's barn, and then there's all those belongings from all the people that they have like robbed or kidnapped over the
Yeah.
years. So yeah, very dark plot, but still fun. Kurt Russell's awesome. And number 1, I had to put this. I wanted to put Con Air as well, but I couldn't. Only get 5. Scream 2. Saw this in the theater when it came out. It got all the right reactions in all the right spots. This was a time where there were not, I guess, well, the year before was 96. You had the first one. But then 97, I think right in 97, you have all the other clones start to come out. You get Urban Legend, and I think I Know What You Did Last Summer as well. So you get all the other ones coming out after. But this was still early enough on where it wasn't as common to get, the mainstream slasher movie in the theater. So it was probably like how I guess something like maybe Terrifier plays today, although that's obviously much more graphic and gory. But it got all the right reactions, and I still really enjoy it a lot. It's got my favorite death scene out of the entire franchise. The the cops on the hood of the car. He gets the pole
Oh yeah.
impaled through the back of his head, comes through the front of his head. It's a great scene.
I gotta say too though, like people probably forget like the opening of that movie was pretty amazing back when it came out too.
Yeah, back when it
Like
came out, for sure.
the whole movie theater scene and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it does not hold up as well now as in the first film, the opening scene in the first film, or anything like that.
Especially when you got something like Scary Movie.
Yeah,
Fun of it, the
but
way that they
also
did it.
just because of Jada Pinkett Smith too. It's like
Well, yeah.
I can't fucking even hardly stand to look at her anymore as it is. So there's that part of it. But yeah, like people forget though that like Scream 2, I mean, was really, really good. Like, and then that opening was really, really good too. It's just I just wish it was somebody else now that was in the fucking opening. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
So yeah, that's my list. Oh, and I didn't double stack for number 5, so I'll put Con Air as my double stack. So there you go.
Mark. All this talk about Face Off, and you don't have nowhere on the list.
It's not
There
on
you
the
go.
list.
There you go.
Again, we can only put 5. It would have
Not
been
even
a
the honorable mentions. So there you go. I see how it is.
We know what my number 1 is for 98 though.
They took his face.
Oh,
Oh,
Face off.
And that's why it's not in the top 5.
Yeah, that's exactly it. All right, we're gonna have to like blast the fuck through these last 2 years, boys.
Yeah.
So I've got 98. I will just give honorable mention to every damn thing I can think of, but not talk about it.
Sure.
Honorable mention to The Wedding Singer,
Mm-hmm.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, The Truman Show,
Mm-hmm.
and American History X for 1998. So my number 5 is Blade. I think Blade might be one of the best mixtures of like horror and action and all of that stuff together. Like, and the fact that it's a comic book movie, but it's not really a comic book movie. I mean, it's not like a Superman or Batman or some shit like that kind of comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually like a story that not many people even knew about to begin with when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And they picked the exact right person to play
Yes, they
the
did.
lead. And that first movie was like it wasn't low budget, but it seemed low budget, and it seemed like it was more like of a personal, smaller film than like Blade 2, when shit was just like everything happens in Blade 2. There's CGI all over the place and shit, you know. Like there's fight sequences out the ass, but something about the original Blade was just very subdued, but still they did the action scenes really, really well too.
I mean, it's one of the best adaptations ever. It's actually better than the comics. For people that don't know, and I'll breeze through this real quick. People that don't know,
Yeah.
the Blade comics are not that great, at least to me. There's some cool characters. There's some interesting stuff here and there, but for the most part, they're not that great. This is one of the very rare instances where the movie did it better than the book. And then even with the look of Blade, I mean, he looks better in the movie than he does in the books.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, everything about that movie works, and actually, Blade 2 works pretty well. But I don't like it as much as Blade for some reason. My number 4 would be, where in the fuck did I put my number 4? Oh, Half Baked. I probably watched this fucking comedy more times than I can even like tell you. There's so many lines of dialogue in that movie, and Dave Chappelle and Jim Brewer are so fucking good in that movie that it's crazy. Well, everybody, the main cast in that movie is great too.
Mm-hmm.
And oh god, man, I'm trying to remember the other guy's name too, who's almost like Harlan Williams. He's almost like in a different movie or something, but he's fucking amazing in it too. He's got the best line in the movie, which is great because every line in that fucking movie is great. But it's the line where he's like, "You hungry, girl?" And there's that woman walking behind him.
Yeah.
He goes, "Fuck you."
I was talking to
He's
the horse.
feeding the horse. Yeah. And butternuts, butter stuff. Yeah. And like the horse dies from like it's got diabetes or something. He's feeding it like popcorn and stuff. But there's also the whole part too where a lot of people don't know that's where the part comes from that is like fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, who's next? Like when he quits his job, Scarface.
Yeah. Guillermo Diaz. Yeah.
Fuck you, you're right. Fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's the guy in the head.
But I think honestly, my favorite part of that whole fucking movie is at the end where you got Clarence Williams third in that wheelchair with that fucking crossbow and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's too much stuff in that movie. And then you got the guy too that I forget his name in the movie now, but he's like, man, he's like, he opened up to me like nobody's business. And it's got Dave Chappelle. He's got, I'm impotent. Get away from me, bitch. And he's like, I forget the rapper's name. Somebody here's bound to know it.
Sir Smoke a Lot.
Sir Smoke a Lot. Yeah. Like doctor said, I need a backiotomy. Squirrel Master. Yeah, I mean, just the whole fucking movie basically is like a cult classic. Like that's the definition of a cult classic is that whole movie. I could go on and on. Anyway, so that was. I did not go as quickly as I intended to go. I apologize. I'll speed this shit up. So if number four, number four was Half Baked, then number three is The Truman Show, and I do not understand why the fuck people like put or act like this movie wasn't good now. Like that's something to do, or
I didn't know that was a thing.
it's a thing for a couple of different people that I know, and I don't understand exactly what the fucking deal is with that. But to me, The Truman Show was like probably his best dramatic film, like Jim Carrey's best dramatic film. And the idea of it is like pretty close to what actually ended up happening, you know, except for the fact that you can't like raise a movie studio or a production studio can't raise a kid from birth. But I mean, other than that, they've pretty much done all the shit that's in that movie now with reality TV and stuff. In terms of tricking people into believing like that they're, you know, doing one thing and they're actually not doing another. But like his whole thing about like, as he's starting to figure out what's going on and like the relationship he has with his wife, where there's that one scene where she's like, he gets really upset and she's like, oh, why don't I make you some of this coffee from like Columbia? And she's like doing the advertisement for it. And he's like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, because he doesn't realize there's cameras and stuff around you. Yeah, but I love that. I love that movie though.
Good one.
So that would mean that my number two can be only one thing. Mark, this has to be on your list. It has to be.
I mean, if it's what I think it is, it's my number one. And
I knew it was going to be your number one, but there's one other film that I could not not put number one. So my number two is Armageddon. They fucking nuke a asteroid. Sure. My number two is the X-Files movie. I don't care. I don't give a shit. You take your hoity-toity fucking nonsense over here in the chat and stick it up your fucking asshole. Because
why they don't like X-Files movie or something?
There's just people that are just fucking
yeah.
Really?
Drives me nuts. But yeah, the X-Files movie, when it came out, not only was it like the most anticipated movie for me that year, but like it actually paid off. Like it paid off on the promise of like what that could be. You don't see many films do that either, by the way, like crossover that well from like a TV show to a movie and actually go back to the TV show after that. Like, I'm not sure how many movies I can think of that have really done that, but to where like the movie itself is then included in the canon of the TV show as being, you know, like a part of it and everything as well. I love that movie though too. I love the X-Files movie. I think it's like one of the best TV to movie that there is. We've talked about all that shit. If you want to go more and hear about that, there's a whole fucking show dedicated to all those shows and the movies. My number one is a film that I could watch at any point in time. I think it's got one of the greatest openings, maybe aside from Full Metal Jacket, like one of the greatest openings for like a war movie of all time, which is Saving Private Ryan. You know, there's something about the way that was filmed that is just so perfect and like so you feel like that you are like on that fucking beach. And I know it's Spielberg and it feels like Spielberg, but at the same time you can't really, to me, believe that Spielberg would do anything like that because it's just so fucking grim that it's hard to believe that he would go through with it. But I mean, he did do Schindler's List, but I mean, shit, like just everybody gets demolished in the beginning of that movie and pretty much throughout the whole movie. It's I've never been in a war, but I've got to imagine that that's pretty much as close as you can get to actually being in a war without being in one is like the opening of that fucking movie. And it's got a great cast too that people don't realize. I mean, it had Vin Diesel, it had Matt Damon, it had Tom Hanks, it had Barry Pepper, who was great he's probably like one of the unsung heroes of that cast, really, in my opinion. Um, yeah, it was. Sizemore was in that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great movie, all the way through. Great movie. But that first opening, like 30 minutes, is just one of the best openings ever. So that's 98.
So for me, 98, just like you, I'll go through the honorable, just quick. Dark City, Rush Hour, The Replacement Killers, Any of the State, The Truman Show, The X-Files. Number 5, I'm going to put the biggest curveball of the night. Goddamn Zilla.
The Matthew Broderick one?
I
Holy
like that
shit,
movie.
Rambo. I didn't fucking see that coming at all.
I don't give a fuck. I saw in the theater. I only saw like 2 Godzilla films before that. And I had such a great time in the theater when I saw that. I could watch that, and I thought it was just a really fun popcorn movie.
No, that's
Like,
not just nostalgia, is it? Like you still since you've seen it since, obviously.
yeah, I've
so
seen it
it's like-
since. Yes, yes, Mark. I have seen it once, twice, and 3 times.
Like Mark trying to talk him out of this.
I was just
That's
wondering.
killer. He's like, "How you have watched it, haven't you? Like recently."
I like Matthew Broderick in the film. I like John Reno in the film. I think Hank Azaria is hilarious. I think the way he handles special effects in the city, it was cool to see an American version of a monster movie that will not be done like that, because the way he used the models of the city with the helicopters going in and out, and they built this gigantic entire city model to do that. And you see like practical, like these helicopters going through the city. I think still looks really cool to this day. I do like the soundtrack. Yes, P. Diddy's one of them, but I did like the song before he did stuff. And the last like 30, 40 minutes, I still found a ball and a half to watch. I still, as an American big budget monster movie, I thought it was a good popcorn entertainment for what it was trying to do. And it did stuff differently. I understand. Trust me, I understand. But I wasn't in that mindset at that time because I didn't know what Godzilla was, and I liked it. If that movie for me was called something else, I don't think it would be as hated by some people. It's just the fact it was called Godzilla. But I like that movie. I don't give a fuck.
I gotta
still like
say,
that
the
movie.
one thing I remember most about that movie, and Justin Smith brought it up, was that fucking Taco Bell promotion for that. That was everywhere, man. Like you could not escape that tie into that movie.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything about it. I think I saw it one time back when it came out, and I do not remember. I couldn't tell if it was good, bad, fucking whatever at this point.
Well, everybody in the chat hates it, but that's fine.
know,
I
I
don't
know.
give a fuck. That's cool. You're not alone, guys. I know I'm alone in it, but I sincerely do like that film as popcorn entertainment and escapism. Number 4, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I think that's a very eccentric road trip movie. I think Terry Gilliam just did a really nice job with how trippy that movie is, because it's such a story novel that's very hard, almost impossible to put on film. And if you had to do it, Terry Gilliam was the guy to do it. I do think Johnny Depp and Del Toro did a nice job. Mm-hmm. And I thought with that director, it had such a unique visual palette that ever since I first saw it, it still stuck with me. So I still quite like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's a very unique road trip film, as it should be, because of that story.
Given what we know about those actors, I'm sure they went method on all those drugs in the movie.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Johnny Depp was taking all that shit. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Wasn't there
go ahead.
Wasn't there like a thing where he did his routine? Like Hunter S. Thompson had a routine of drugs that he would do and alcohol like every day, and he had it all written down. And like Johnny Depp did it, like he tried to do it. He either did it or tried to do it. But like it's an insane, man. You can look it up online. Like he had it journaled, like all the drugs he took in a day. and like he woke up, did cocaine, then he did like acid, and then he like drank like so much, and then he would do like more mushrooms, and then it just went on and on and on, man. Like it was crazy.
Hope him, I don't give a fuck. I mean, it was just a regular line. I saw. It was a lot of fish. What was it supposed to say? I mean, if you think that's the dumbest line,
Oh god.
I could pick a movie in the last 5 months that have worse lines than that. But number 3, Blade, for the reasons you guys said. Awesome film. Wesley Snipes did a fantastic job. Like you said, great build of action and horror. It's comic book, but at the same time, it has that at street level aesthetic. It's not the world exploding. It's not buildings exploding. It's a lot of badass moments, especially that opening. That opening still works insanely well.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson. I even like Steven Dorff in it. I even don't mind him.
That's probably his best role. I mean, I don't know who's going to argue with that. He was great.
Not the gate. But I do. I like the cast. Blade's a very fun movie.
Yes.
Number 2, one of my favorite comedies, The Big Lebowski. I love The Big Lebowski. I quote that movie all the time. John Goodman's character is one of my favorite characters. It's just every other thing about Vietnam or, Market Zero or, shut the fuck up, Donnie. Or just everything about that. I don't like the jerk off name. I don't like the jerk off face. And I don't like you, jerk off. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. What were you saying? I fucking hate the Eagles, man. It's just so much stuff with the dude abides, Sam Elliott, Steve Buscemi, John Turturro. Never fought with the Jesus. just how insane with John Goodman's character. It's like, toe ain't nothing. I'd get a toe by 10:30. Just how insane his character is.
Didn't they make a Jesus movie that nobody went and saw like that?
They did.
That's another one of those movies where it just kind of came and nobody. It's like a dream or something almost.
Yeah, the Coens had nothing to do with it. I think John Turturro himself made it, and he never ruined Shabbos, Shibber Shabbos, whatever he was saying. It's just he's a what the fuck? What's a pederast? Shut the fuck up, Donnie. I gotta stop this. I'd be going on for 5 more minutes on it. I love that. I got the Blu-ray right here. I can watch it anytime, and I almost want to live like the dude, just the dude abides. It just even we were talking about dream sequences. Those are good dreams, like musical numbers. Mark, not Joker 2. Those are good musical numbers, in my opinion. And then number 1, being a big creature feature fan, I love Deep Rising.
Okay.
Yes, it's CGI is the 90s variety, yes, but I just like the concept of an action horror film on a cruise ship. I like Tree Williams. I like Famke Johnson. Anthony Heald, who was the Sounds of the Lambs. He was in a bunch of other movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like a bunch of mercenaries go on a cruise ship. There's these creatures that have some pretty violent moments, some gory moments, because they suck the water out of you to turn into bones and mush. There is some good practical. There is a lot of CGI, but I forgive it because of the time they did the best they could. And I thought they had when it started, it had such a good forward momentum that the director also brought to The Mummy the year after. Mm-hmm. When things started, he just kind of went and then stopped till the end. And it was easily True Williams' best role. And I was sad that he passed away because I liked him as an actor. And that was my favorite role of his. So Deep Rising would be my personal favorite.
I like the movie as well, but and we may have talked about this before, but I just don't remember, and maybe it's slipping my mind altogether if I already knew. But what was the ending again? Like with the thing on the island, what was that supposed to be again?
Well, it was supposed to be a hopeful sequel that never got made.
Right, but what was the monster? Was that ever revealed or?
No, because they just
Okay.
one hope was that it was going to be maybe lead to like a King Kong movie or something,
I had heard that. Okay.
but of course that never happened.
Hmm.
And then he did the Mummy and other stuff. Because the film, long story short, just the guy who did the effects at first screwed up. They had to redo everything. So instead of coming out in late '97, it got pushed to January '98. And at that time, Titanic was huge, and it just died quickly at the box office. So instead of the first cruise ship movie, it was like the fourth one because you had like Speed 2 in '97, you had Titanic, you had all this other stuff. And then monster movies, you had Mimic, Anaconda, The Relic. So it was like the last creature and the last, and it came out in January, it just bombed. It had no chance, it just died. But that's my favorite '98. I just think it's a fun movie.
Cool. All right. Honorable mentions. I'm going to speed through these real quick. You just mentioned Deep Rising, so that's one of mine. Mask of Zorro, which is still easily one of my favorite Banderas movies, next to Desperado, of course. Love that one. John Carpenter's Vampires as well. And I'll just say Wild Things for obvious reasons. So, last one, last honorable mention, Another Day in Paradise. I think it's Larry Clark's best movie, hands down. Very, very underrated movie. Still does not have a release on anything. James Woods is a career criminal. Comes across a teenager who's like strung out and sort of teaches him the ropes of life of crime. I believe in that James Woods' girlfriend is Melanie Griffith. And yeah, they go on like crime stuff together. Phantasmat. Yeah, he's got the DVD. He knows what's up. Yeah, that's a really good one. It also has Lou Diamond Phillips in it as well, for any of you Lou Diamond Phillips fans. So it is a must-watch movie. It's great stuff. Number 6/number 5, Lethal Weapon 4. I got to put that on there. I have to double stack because it's Lethal Weapon 4. I've talked about this before. I love the ending, how it wraps everything up. I think the action in it is super over the top. It's insane, yes, but I still like the movie. It's the perfect finale. We don't need a Lethal Weapon 5. So that one is going to share the same slot as American History X. I know that's kind of a weird spot to put that one, but I had to put it on there just because like it's a standout performance by Norton. I think Furlong is really solid in it. Ethan Suplee is great in it. Everybody in it, Stacy Keach, they're all so convincing in their roles. It's subject matter that could probably rub some people the wrong way nowadays, but it's still a very prevalent film and has a lot to say. I know Tony Kaye's like pissed about the movie. I saw a clip of him bitching like on a street corner or something about it's not my cut of the movie. So if we ever get to
corner,
I swear, if you just Google his
there's a
name,
director randomly fuck this on the corner.
Yes, he was just
with his
on
pants
the street.
down or something.
He was screaming out loud. This is not the cut that I wanted to make. Edward Norton fucked me over.
That would really work. Go out on the street corner and fuck this shit.
And he was gonna do a spiritual sequel to it. I forget the name of it. Something History X. Anyway,
American
number 4.
History X.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was called. Somebody in the chat might know. Number 4, Truman Show. Easily a fantastic performance. I don't care what anybody says by Jim Carrey. He's great in the movie. A lot of great supporting cast as well. Great novel concept that would only be further copied by today's standards, at least in real life. I mean, live streaming and stuff like that. I mean, everybody does that now. I mean, we're doing it. But to do it for 24/7, somebody's life, all day, all night, I love that idea. It's got a lot more to say than just that concept, but I won't go into it because we are running low on time. Number 3, A Simple Plan. it's got to be, for me, up there in my top 5 Paxton roles and performances. Another one that's very, very underrated for Billy Bob Thornton. As much as people might like his role in Sling Blade, that's sort of like almost a mirror image of that character in a roundabout way. Not exactly, but his character is very, you feel sorry for him, very, very sympathetic. But yeah, that whole plot with the stealing the money and trying to keep it quiet, and a secret that sort of tears them apart, ruins friendships, ruins family, ends in tragedy and murder and all sorts of other crazy stuff. I put it up there for Sam Raimi's masterpiece. As much as I love Evil Dead, this is excellent. So number 2, Blade. It's same reason you guys mentioned. Snipes was the perfect person to play that role. I mean, I can't think of anybody else around that time who could have played the role as great as he did. He embodied the character. The music is great. The fight choreography still holds up. There's a couple shoddy like CGI effects towards the end, but it's still through and through the best. One of the best comic book movies for sure. It's in my top 5 hands down. It's excellent. Love the fighting, as well as the shootouts too. Chris Christopherson, which you mentioned, Rambo. He's great in it. Rest in peace to him. I know he just passed. So I'm speeding through Blade, and then number 1 is obvious. Anybody that knows me or on the channel, X-Files has to be my number 1. I'm a bit biased, but I don't give a fuck. It's my number 1. I could never have enough time in the rest of this stream to explain the plot of X-Files, so I won't even try, especially for people that are not familiar with the show. But it's my number 1. Love everything about it. So that's my 98.
Cool.
Yeah, it's hard to explain how good that movie is, really. For somebody that's a fan of the X-Files, anyway. I don't know how many, I don't know if people would give a shit about it that much if you weren't, but still. All right. It's going to be a 3-hour stream no matter what we fucking do. So it's just like, yeah, let's just enjoy 99. Because 99 was probably, oddly enough, the one that I found the most movies in of pretty much anything. Maybe 96 and 99 were the two that were like the biggest ones for me.
Out of the 5 years, what was you guys' favorite year?
Shit. Let me see here.
I'd have to say 95 for me, I think. Just looking real quick through it, maybe 95 for me.
I'm going to say 99. Odd as that is, yeah. Because I'm looking at the list that I have for 99, and I'm like, would I change any of these out? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't change any of these, like with anything else. So, and they're all strong enough, like that, yeah.
Cool.
What about you?
I don't know. I have to think about it. So feel free.
Let's see. God, I'll just go through the honorable mentions of just like whatever on here. Honorable mentions go to Dogma, A Stir of Echoes, American Pie, Election, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which I think is a great movie. And I don't know if I want to put that as an honorable mention, if I want to put that in. Can I do a double stack? I haven't done a double stack yet, so I'm going to fucking do one. Yeah, you fucking double stacking motherfuckers. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. So my number 5 would be one of these two. And one of them's not really a movie, but you'll see. American Movie, the Mark Borchardt one. I think that's probably my favorite fucking documentary ever. If it's not, then it's the top 3. But like everything about that is just so pitch perfect. He's going around saying like Coven and all that shit, and like just the idea that he really has no idea like what he's doing whatsoever or how to make a movie or anything, but he still goes and tries to do it, and just kind of like the passion behind that is just great. It is The other scene that always got me too was when they're doing the ADR. It's okay, it's all right. You know, where he's
Something to
getting
live for.
there's something to live for, like his uncle or something. I can't remember who it was, but like some family member he just got. It was like 90 years old to do like the ADR work. But my other choice for number 5 is highly underrated movie, Payback. Mel
Oh
Gibson's
shit!
Payback.
I forgot about that. Okay, that's a good
Love
one.
that movie. Greg Henry fucking is awesome in that movie. Like I love Mel Gibson in it. I think the story's great. Got great action sequences in it. It's like the ultimate vengeance kind of movie. Like if you like those type of movies too, and Mel Gibson's really good, like I said. So that would be those two number 5s put together. My number 4 would be Eyes Wide Shut. Stanley Kubrick's kind of meditation on Hollywood. I'm thinking is what he's doing there, or at least the elites. At least a meditation on the elites, and
P. Diddy's party.
Yeah, I was
and
thinking
basically, yeah, basically that movie is a documentary at this point. Yeah. So that far back in 1999, he was very aware of what was going on. Just kind of trying to tell us too.
that. Surprised you picked that one.
Oh yeah.
It's Tom Cruise. That's the only reason.
Well, yeah, that fucking. I mean, in any Kubrick movie, the actors aren't really the stars. Like that's the
Okay.
one thing I would say.
That's
Like
fair.
with
Yeah.
maybe the exception of honestly Full Metal Jacket. Like that might be the only exception.
Or
I
Nicholson
mean,
in The Shining.
I love Nicholson in The Shining, but like
Mhm.
I feel like that the cinematography in The Shining is so good that like it might have even made up for it. Like if it was somebody else in that role. But anyway, 3 would be the South Park movie. I went and saw that fucking movie when it came out, and I still think, man, that in terms of like a cartoon movie like that, it's way funnier than most comedies that came out around that time. But it's also way better at doing like political and social satire than most films that came out around that time too, in the way that it does it. Just all the way through. It's got musical numbers. Speaking of musical numbers, that actually are really catchy and fucking work throughout the entire movie too. So I think it's a much smarter movie than people give it credit for. Number 2 is just a personal favorite of mine. I don't think it has any real like redeeming social qualities. It's Detroit Rock City. I fucking love that movie,
It's
and
in
I
my top
always love
5.
that movie.
It's a
Like
fun one.
Yeah.
it's a great road movie slash like we've got a quest to do something movie that just so
Mhm.
happens to center around like Kiss. But whether or not you like Kiss or not doesn't really matter because like just the 3 leads in the movie are great, and they got
Mhm.
Lynn Shay to play off of as like the demonic mother, and they all have their own side quests, almost like it's a RPG game or something where they all have to go do like side quests and come back, you know, together. It's I love that movie. And number 1 is the Blair Witch Project, and it will just always be the Blair Witch Project
Okay.
because that fucking movie revolutionized horror films. Whether you like it or hate it, you better learn to love it because it's the best thing going today. That's 99.
So for me, honorable mentions: House on Haunted Hill, Galaxy Quest, Three Teens, Fight Club, The Mummy, Resurrection, Sleepy Hollow. Number 5, I saw this in the theater, Deep Blue Sea. I love that film. I love just how insanely B movie it is, and Rennie Harlan knows how to do that. He had the budget for, yes, the CG isn't good, but when it's the practical shots, it looks really good. I like seeing Thomas Jane. I love Sam Jackson. I love Dave Chappelle's parody. A damn shark ate me.
That's right.
That movie, again, it took a B movie idea, gave it an A level budget, and I love the combination of those two worlds because what I hate about those Sci-Fi Channel films, just how cheap looking and badly acted, and to me, it's like if you took that but you gave it a bit of a slick flavor, they could be dumb fun. And Rennie Harlan knows how to do action sequences. I think he showed that in Deep Blue Sea yet again. And Jaws will always be the best shark movie. But I think for me, the film that comes closest to second is Deep Blue Sea in terms of entertainment, at least for me. So,
Do you like my movies? Shark ate me. That
number
was a
4,
good-
yeah,
I'm just gonna keep going on all that shit. Sorry.
please do. Is hilarious. I love that part.
Oh, shit.
Number 4, it was on your list, American Movie. Love that film. Mark Borchardt, Mike Shank. Rest in peace to him. Even though it's a documentary, I got the Blu-ray because I just wanted to have it because I love it so much. It's weird, like looking back, it's kind of sad because he never got that dream fulfilled. He never did finish all those movies he wanted.
True.
But at the same time, it's still funny and endearing in a way of he don't quit. I mean, it didn't work out, but he still didn't quit, and that fits the title. The American dream. Even if you don't succeed, you don't quit, and in a weird way, it kind of fits that. And I mean, I know he's on Instagram, but I don't know really what he does nowadays, how he makes money, his job, whatever. But I hope he's doing well, and I hope. I'm really against sequels, but I would actually, that would be a sequel I would watch if he somehow like try to make something again after all these years and just follow along who he is nowadays. I think that would be fascinating. But yeah, I love American Movie. One of the best documentaries, and I agree with you on that. Number
I'd love
3,
to know what-
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna
No, go
say
ahead.
I'd love to know what happened to his buddy. The guy that was playing the guitar blindfolded and shit. Like,
Yeah, Sally passed away.
oh, did he? Fuck.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Mike Shank, he passed away. Sally, I forget. I forget what the reason was. It was like last year or something. It wasn't too long ago, but yeah, that was too bad. Anyway, I don't remember. But rest in peace to him. Number 3, The Matrix. I saw it in the theater. Did not know what to expect. Was a really cool experience. That was a year people thought The Phantom Menace was going to blow everybody's skirts up. It did not. And The Matrix came out and took all the thunder, took all the glory. And it's still a great sci-fi action movie. And whether it be the cast, whether it be the effects, whether it be the action sequences, the shootout sequences, it just worked very well, and I had to put it on the list. It was such a great experience seeing that in the theater in '99. Just people like, what the hell is this? But it was refreshing. Number 2, I saw this in the theater. For me, Arnold's most underrated film, and that is End of Days. I absolutely adore End of Days.
You're a fucking quiet boy compared to me. Yeah.
That's great.
I love that. You're a fucking quiet boy compared to me, a quiet boy. You want to fuck with me? Gabriel Byrne as the devil. You got Peter Hyams yet again directing, which he did The Relic. It was like a big budget action film mixed in with a devil possession movie, and I love seeing those two worlds collide. It's one of the last great Arnold films to me. And how does a movie suck? He blows the devil in the face with a grenade launcher. Come on.
I can't tell if he's saying that movie sucked or that Terrifier 3 sucked. I don't know which one he's saying. Because
I'm sure End of Days, because most people hate that film, but go ahead.
Is Ed from your chat by any chance, Rambo?
Yes.
Okay. Just I figured
yeah.
for some reason. Go ahead, sorry.
I love End of Days. I thought it was such a fun movie. It was action and horror merged together, which I love. And Gabriel Byrne, just the way he played the devil, where he that's a good shirt and makes the kid get killed by a bus or something run over him and still says it's a good shirt. great action set pieces. The devil's like punching holes through people's heads, and uh, just a fun big budget uh, movie that was a good to be crowd pleaser for Arnold. And this is right after he had his heart surgery, and the film didn't do well, which is too bad. But never really understood the hate for it. Always thought it was underrated. So love End of Days. And then number one, same with you, The Blair Witch Project. Saw that on VHS. I, at that point, had never seen a found footage film. It was my first introduction to it. And I loved the gimmick. I loved the three actors. It felt believable. I knew it wasn't real, but I thought they did a great job making you think it was real. And I thought, as simplistic as it was, it really showed. I really felt like the fourth member. I felt like if you ran to a cabin out of the blue and you read someone's last days, that's kind of the feeling you got. And I've seen a lot of found footage films after that. That's not easy to do, as simple as it seems. There's a lot of bad ones out there, and the Blair Witch Project to me is the best one. It just works.
I still think it's incredibly good and effective. If you go back and watch it now and like stop being a pansy ass bitch that just complains about everything. If you go back and watch it now and you actually like take it for like, you know, just looking at in terms of looking at a lens of three people lost, you know, that are being attacked by something that they don't understand exactly what the fuck is going on, and the panic that kind of ensues after that, like it's really good, man. It's really well made. And there's a lot of noggin heads out there that want to fucking go on and on and on about it, but
Or quickly, what do they say they don't like about it? Just that nothing
at
happened.
this point, anything, man. You know how people are on the internet. Hold on. 1 second. And I think I have something that will encapsulate everything that we're thinking.
Here's the thing about horror fans. They love to complain.
Well, to be fair, I'm one of them, so I can't.
Yeah.
I know the feeling, but I do like the Blair Witch Project.
We do, though. But I mean, they'll complain about anything about it. They'll complain about the fact the acting wasn't good. They didn't like Heather Donahue. They don't like shaky cam stuff. They don't like the ending. They don't like fucking fucking blah, whatever.
Yeah. I look forward to the second site release in November.
Oh yeah, I've already got that some bitch pre-ordered. Oh,
Cool.
so
So
good
that's
list.
How about you, Mark?
Okay, this one's kind of a cheat. It was released theatrically, but it's technically a documentary. Beyond the Mat, honorable mention.
That's right.
Very much exposed the business at a point in time where I think dirt sheets were pretty heavy, but we didn't really see any documentaries like this around this time. So I had to put that one on there as an honorable mention.
What was that one guy on there that was like, I wasn't booked? Like he wouldn't go, but he kept about like he wasn't booked for the show. It was like Terry Funk's friend or something. It was
I
like,
don't remember that.
Oh fuck, I remember that. I remember what you're talking about.
he's like, oh, come join the show, but I wasn't booked.
Booked.
I don't really remember.
They still bring that shit up too to this day, like on one of them shows.
That's what I always think of. Like, sorry, it just
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah, honorable mentions. You already said Eyes Wide Shut, Into Deep, which for me that's the best LL Cool J performance that he's ever given. I mean, he's so cold and callous in that. I mean, the stuff that he does to certain people is just crazy. If you guys have ever seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, especially the torture scene where I'll just say, tortures a guy with a pool stick. And in a really messed up way that I won't go into detail about, but just use your imagination.
Is it better than H2O? His performance, I mean.
Oh, I know you're trolling now. It's amazing.
It kind of was.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, well, it's fantastic. I mean, I don't ever really see him doing anything like that ever again. It's a very dark performance. He's like a drug kingpin, and Omar Epps has to go undercover. And much like the title, he gets in too deep. He gets too close to LL Cool J. The classic undercover cop thing that you've seen. You know,
What the hell ever happened to LL Cool J? Is he still fucking around? Like,
He did that TV show with Chris O'Donnell for like 15 years, the NCIS.
Oh yeah, that's
oh,
right.
of course.
Okay.
That's where all the people go to like have a career now. It's either like Law and Order or NCIS
That's
or
steady
CSI.
paycheck, man. I mean, I don't blame him.
Ice-T is still on there. Like,
Ice-T. Another honorable mention, Idle Hands. I always thought that one was really fun. Had a blast watching that. Jessica Alba's hot as hell in that. The Wood is a coming of age movie set in Inglewood, California. 3 friends growing up. So that's a really fun one. Gonna breeze through these last ones. We're at 2 hours and 51 minutes. Number 6, which is a double stack for number 5, Sleepy Hollow and House on Haunted Hill share the same spot. Jeffrey Combs in House on Haunted Hill. it's just
great in that, man.
Yes.
It's a great movie.
It's the best thing William Malone's ever done.
Yeah, by
I
far.
think we could all agree with that.
Yeah. And what's the guy's name that plays the Vincent Price like character in it too? He's
Jeffrey
great.
Rush.
Jeffrey Rush. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I saw it in the theater when it came out, like opening
too.
weekend, and thought it was outstanding even then. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always been a William Castle fan, so I had already seen the original, and seeing this one as well as with what was the other one that came out a couple years? Is it 13 Ghosts? I know
Yeah.
they also did the
Yeah,
Haunting
with
as
Matthew
well.
Lillard and all that.
Yeah. But yeah, House on Haunted Hill is really fun. Sleepy Hollow, one of the best Tim Burton movies for sure. I think that one. That's definitely up there. It's in my top 5 Tim Burton. I mean, it's pretty much a slasher flick with the Headless Horseman and Johnny Depp is like a detective. But we all know Sleepy Hollow.
So is Beetlejuice 2 in your top 5?
Oh, God. Fucking Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
too. No.
Good.
You just threw me off. What was I on? What number?
5.
All right, yeah. Well, yeah, Sleepy Hollow and House on Haunted Hill share the same spot. That was double stacked. So number 4 is Detroit Rock City. You don't even have to be a Kiss fan, like you said, to enjoy that movie. It's got all the right beats and moments that make it for a very entertaining, fun road movie. And I ended up liking Kiss a bit more after the fact, just because of all the songs. And if you listen to the soundtrack, it just all those songs get in your head. It's not all Kiss on the soundtrack, and it's I love that soundtrack. It's killer.
Are there fans of Kiss nowadays?
Not really as much
question.
anymore. I mean, I still love like their older stuff, like their first 3 or 4 albums, but like as people, like I can't condone anything that any of them do. Like I fucking hate Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, and to some degree or another, even like Fraley and Peter Criss. So
I was gonna say, what did Fraley do?
Fraley is just, I mean, he actually came up around here, like, and did a show with Fraley's Comet. And he's just fucking, he's out there, man. I don't know if he was drunk. He probably was, but he's not a very approachable guy. I do like their early music though, for sure.
Of course.
Yeah. Number 3, Stir of Echoes. Still one of my favorite ghost story movies ever. I could watch it at any point in time, even knowing like the reveal ending. I found myself watching that way more than Sixth Sense, which also came out that year.
Agreed.
It's I mean, it's Kevin Bacon in the lead, so once again, I'm a bit biased because I'm such a big Bacon fan. So, yeah, that easily, dude, he's fucking great in that. I mean, I know he just did a list on Instagram. He even put it in his top list. It's not even one of his best; it's one of his favorite movies. It's a really cool story. and it just works. I love seeing the familiar setting. Obviously, it's set in Chicago, so once again, a bit biased. So, love Stir of Echoes. Number 2, Fight Club. It's a film where, like, if you don't like the ending and you're not in on it and you don't really get it, then it's obviously not going to be for you. It's got a lot of cool scenes though. I love all the subtext. Norton is great. I do like Brad Pitt in it quite a bit, and even Jared Leto is really solid in the movie. I know it's a cool thing to shit on him nowadays.
Well, Jared Leto was really good before he became like Jared Leto. Like,
well, yeah,
before anybody
I
know
can see
who
that.
he was, like, and he wasn't hamming it up and shit. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
he was a really good actor. And then whatever the fuck he's doing nowadays, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but Fincher's fantastic director. I'm a fan of pretty much everything he's done. That's another one that's underrated. I was just popped in my head. Panic Room. Also, Jared Leto.
That's very
It's
good
really
movie.
good in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I'll go past that one real quick to number 1, and it's the obvious choice, The Matrix. Saw this in the theater, didn't know what to expect, much like Rambo. Walked out like questioning everything. Like, is that even really possible? Which, I mean, there's tons of videos out there on YouTube and all over the internet that say we probably are in a simulation. So you kind of decide for yourself.
Was it
on
Jesse Ventura?
that. His theories are pretty crazy too. But yeah, he probably said that as well. Yeah, fight choreography, production design, music, you name it, the movie has it.
Yeah. Nobody, I don't think it had really seen anything like that. The
No.
way that they did that movie at that time.
And I think that, like, the way they did the effects with the green screen and setting up all the cameras like in a circle 360 degree to capture, you know, the stunts, like it just works. I mean, I think even if you say probably that it's a movie of its time, it's still got a very interesting plot. I mean, you've never seen anything like that before. Like you said, like it came out and it changed action movies. Everybody's fucking wearing leather, black leather after that movies. Then came all the bullet time and slow motion. It affected video games as well. You saw that in tons of video games after. So
Then they made 2 sequels that sucked the shit out of everybody's ass. Good Lord. Like, that's one thing about the Matrix that I just can't ever get over, man.
the
Like,
sequels.
The sequels, yeah. Like, that was the universe that they created, and they wanted to follow it up with that shit. It's just possibly 2 of the worst sequels to follow up anything that was that good that I can think of.
You were never going to be able to please anybody with the sequels, no matter what you did. I don't.
Why the
think.
fuck
Just
you? Why would
because-
you even do a sequel to that movie? Really, it's like the Joker. Like, why even fucking do a sequel to that? Like,
I like Matrix 2 and 3.
I don't
I don't
mind
like
them
the-
there ain't
either,
no
but
way. There ain't no fucking way, Rambo.
I do
did-
too. I don't
Well,
mind.
get
I
them.
saw them in the
ready.
theater.
God damn it! Get ready to clip this one too. Then, what in the fuck do you like about that horse shit?
Which one? Reloaded or Revolution?
Reloaded, or whatever you want to talk about.
I don't like the guy who's the KFC guy. That's scene one or two.
KFC.
KFC guy.
But as an action film,
Oh fuck!
the whole highway car chase is fantastic. The fight scenes with all the different Smiths, his abilities have grown. I think the action scenes are fantastic. I think the soundtrack is fantastic. I think the villain, he had more to do and became an even bigger villain. And then the third one, I get what they're trying to do, where it's trying to be like the imagine the machine, the Matrix itself, the machine world. That's true. That didn't happen either. So,
No.
but the way I looked at it was that there's the humans, which is like the body, the Matrix was like the mind, and then the machine world was like the soul. And the whole goal by the third one is all of them have to be melded together because you keep fighting, it just don't go in this circle. But if we actually have a treaty, that's the only way this war will actually end. Because in the second film, we're explained that it's always this circular motion where there's a one, it defeats everybody, but then you're back to square one. So by the third film at the end, there has, if one beats the one, then the other will be more powerful, be a villain. But if we're both on equal footing, I get what they're going for, but I think that's the thing. Most audiences didn't want that. They wanted more of the Star Wars first film where there's a villain, the good guys defeat the villain, and I think Simple Mind's not a bad thing. I think if you want, there are times in 2 and 3 they got too self-indulgent with the dialogue, and I say it's the KFC guy, but that scene, I remember seeing the theater and I could tell the audience was losing interest because that scene went on for like 10 minutes. It felt like it, and it was just all this gooble garble, like
I swear to God, man. Whenever I think about those movies, that's what I think about. I just think about a bunch of fucking gobbledygook shit that doesn't make any sense.
That's the mistake they made. But that was a year where I was so invested that I saw like that the second one twice. I saw the third one in the theater. I saw the Animatrix. I even saw that shitty movie Dreamcatcher because before it was a Matrix thing.
Listen, Dreamcatcher's got aliens bursting out of people's asses and British accents galore. Like, yes.
That's true. And a guy talking with his gun like a phone.
One of the worst movies, but great.
At the
same time, it's fucking hilarious.
Have you seen that film since it came out, Dreamcatcher?
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch of times. It's one of the worst movies ever, but it's fucking hilarious. There's aliens coming out of guys' asses in this movie, man. Yeah, how can you not respect that? And when they take you over, they speak in like the worst British accent you can imagine. Like fucking,
I believe it's called shit weasels.
Yeah, shit weasels. Yeah, Jason Weasels. You talking about horrible casting too? Jesus Christ.
Morgan Freeman is in a movie about shit weasels.
Blowing shit up. Just a fucking admiral or something just for no reason.
Tom Sizemore. Sizemore. Morgan Freeman's...
that fucking alien shit in that movie just kills me every time. Oh, sir. It's fucking C-3PO or something.
On a tangent, I did say in the theater, and I thought the trailer was interesting. And the first like 20 minutes, I thought was interesting because I thought it'd be like Stand By Me, but it's sci-fi. Like they're kids, they get back together, and then they're going to go on this journey. And then the toilet scene happened, and I went, this is
like I was invested early on. Yep. You thought it was going to be awesome, especially given the cast that you have. That
it should have been. It should have been really
killer.
It was that Donnie Wahlberg, and then he's an alien, and I'm Duddits. What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, you never go. You know what I mean.
He's a good alien, and it's like the effects. These good aliens fight bad CGI aliens. And I went, where did this movie go? It's
like 3 different movies. Yeah, it really is like 3 different. It starts out as like a buddy film that would have been great if they had just followed that premise. Halfway in the middle of it, it becomes some sort of weird Invasion of the Body Snatchers bullshit ripoff, and then at the end of it, it turns into an army fucking film with Morgan Freeman. It's like, what the fuck?
And what that? They called it the Ripley. I think they called the alien thing the Ripley.
Something like that, yeah.
But sorry, Dory, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, all that being said, though, I probably would watch Dreamcatcher again before I watch either one of them fucking Matrix sequences. I'd have to hear the architect of destruction or whoever talk about something for fucking 45 minutes.
I just fast forward through that part.
Yeah.
The fourth Matrix sucked. That was a piece of shit. I agree with that.
That one was good too.
No. To each their own. I'm on the other fence.
No.
To each their own.
Oh shit. Okay. Anyway. Where we at? Like with it?
That was it.
That was it? Okay. Okay. So that's it for
3 hours later.
Yeah, 3 hours later. That's it for the 90s. And look, Everybody's on here, you know. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give. I'm taking a break from this format for a while. Like we
Yeah.
may come back and do the 2000s at some
Makes
point. I
sense.
don't know, but I need
Got
to
to
go
put
back.
Dreamcatcher on the list for the 2003.
I definitely will put that on there. It'd be amazing. It's like an
Any
honorable
ideas
mention.
though? Since it's October,
Yeah, we need to do
can't
something Octoberish. We need to
because
do
I don't
something.
know.
Halloween's coming up. Shit. Mark, you're the one that comes up with ideas. Go.
I don't have anything out the top of my head just yet, but I will come up with something.
We'll think about it. We can do the 100 shittiest movie moments.
Talk about 100, okay.
We break that up into like 2 shows. Now we need to think of something to do for Halloween. We'll all like try to come up with some sort of idea for a show for around like the next couple of weeks.
I was wondering, like maybe the worst horror films of the '80s, whether top 3 or.
That could go on for fucking 5 hours. Like
Well,
that's the
that.
thing.
no, think of something else then.
That's the
Trying to
thing.
think.
There's a lot more to choose from for the worst than there is the best. So
I have to think about that.
that'd be really difficult. It would be a great show, though. I do want to do that, but it'd be just as long, I think.
We'll
Anyway.
see though.
Let's see. I had some ideas written down here, but I was just saying, like, if any of them could be used in this setting, I don't think they could really. I've got written down here goofy ass horror films. I couldn't think of a better way to write that down. So it's just written down as goofy ass horror films. Yeah. There's got to be something. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we would normally do something like, you know, horror films that we were going to watch leading into Halloween, but I'm thinking everybody does that now. Like that's been a format that's been kind of like ripped off 8 billion times
Yeah,
at this point. Underrated horror movies, there's not many left though that haven't. I mean, I can still think of some, but fuck.
It'd be hard to classify what makes something underrated nowadays because a lot of them have cult followings, and does that still mean underrated? It'd be
true.
tough to describe. I can't think of any.
I know, I'm going dead blank on this shit too.
And the chat, you guys got any ideas out there? Throw them in the chat. We'd love to know.
10 movies I'll not be watching this Halloween. That's a good idea. I can think of several right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, if the chat has any ideas of a Halloween related show that's not been done 55 fucking times. Favorite Sophie's
J-horror
choice.
show.
J-horror.
J-horror's not
Man.
bad, I
You have
think.
to be into J-horror though.
Unless we do like another tier list of characters or franchises or something. I'm just trying to think like, does this commentaries or rankings just even then like is it that kind of show we want to do, or is it just a discussion show, or does even that?
Steven Leather, yeah, we already covered all that. There's a whole 80s section to these shows.
Unless he means does he mean like Fabio and like Mike? Is that what he's talking about? Maybe?
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
Maybe, yeah. Well, these are my friends too. So fuck you guys.
The socially relevant drizzling shit show. That would be good. Horror movies by non-horror movie directors.
Halloween Ends commentary.
Fuck.
Long legs debate.
Long legs debate. There we
Yeah.
go. That's got to be a part of it.
That's tough because, like you said, many other people are doing shows and many ideas are taken. So it's hard to think of something unique.
Well, fuck it. We'll figure something out. We don't have to figure it
Yeah.
out tonight anyway.
Yeah.
So we will take a break though from the years because I don't think I have it in me to go through the 2000s. I really don't. And we'll list the show before next Friday, and then so let's see. Tomorrow I'm doing the round table. I don't think Garrett's around. I think Garrett is out of town at the doing something for vacation or something like that. So I won't be doing the Bravo show. He's going to double up and end up doing that like next week and then next Sunday. I'm pretty sure. So I'm thinking we're just going to do the whole round table.
CK's coming for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's what I know of that we're doing right now. Rambo, what do you got going on? Did anybody request any porn or anything lately?
Yeah, I mean, I still gotta watch that Seinfeld parody porn. Just fulfill more requests. Someone wanted me to rank Robert Englund's the makeup he had for each films, from favorite to least favorite. Commentary and Stay Tuned, which I talked about when we did the other 90 show. Review of The Alchemist, one of the most boring Charles Band films I've ever seen. And I got to record and upload Joker 2. Well, I record them. I just got to upload Joker 2 and Beetlejuice 2 reviews. They've already recorded. I just got to... Jack, funny enough, yesterday someone just requested Debbie Does Dallas. Was it you? Nah, I know it wasn't you. But funny enough, I just got that yesterday.
Shit.
But yeah, more requests. A lot for this month. Variety of video games. Fifth Element for PS1, which that's an awful game. And a lot of variety, from the Ninja Mission, which is a Swedish action ninja movie from the 80s, to Vampire, some 1932 almost not German vampire film. So a lot of variety for those who want to watch. So how about you, Mark?
I'm thinking about doing a video on this set that I just got for Frighteners. Well, I didn't just get it. I've had it for a while, but it's still sealed. I haven't had time to open it yet. It is like a 6-disc 4K set. Have you guys seen that?
No.
It's a really big. Hold on. It's I'm gonna wheel myself over here. I'll be right back.
Here he goes. He's going. Motherfucker. He's going over to the Library of Horror.
Oh, I was doing the prequel Kickboxers the other 4K.
Oh yeah,
features.
I saw that. Yeah, and it's got like the international cut and fucking all kinds of cool stuff on it. I'm definitely gonna buy that
In December.
This thing.
Huh.
So it's a German set.
No.
Yeah, I think it's Turbine. I think that's what
Okay.
it says.
Yeah, Turbine's the one that did the Texas Chainsaw one. That's a really good one too.
Yes, this is a 4K set for Frighteners. I think I want to crack the seal on this and do a video.
What's
on
all
this.
in it for being such a big box? Is it like a 4K and a Blu-ray, and then is there other stuff?
Yeah, so you get your director's cut, which I have already said I'm not a fan of. So hold on. It would help if like some of it wasn't in German, so I could actually read what the features are. That's Ultimate Edition. Yeah, sorry, I can't really. I'll have to look it up and see what else is in it. A lot of it is in German, but there's a ton of features on here. It's a long list of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so do a video on that, I think, and a couple of other sets that I have, which I'm not gonna wheel myself over there and get.
Will it?
But yeah, stay tuned for anybody subscribed. I'll put some stuff up pretty soon.
I got this
You
bitch
finally got that in. Nice. Was it worth the wait? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome. I haven't watched it. I just literally got it like yesterday. But the presentation's amazing. Like the packaging of this is awesome.
Nice.
So the films are packaged like in that with a little like wraparound J Cardish kind of thing that holds it in place. It's got the ones that are Lindsay marked, and it's got the ones that are Fulci marked at
Nice.
the top there too. So yeah, it's the House of Clocks, the House of Witchcraft, the Sweet House of Horrors, and the House of Lost Souls. It's the Cauldron Films that I've been waiting on since fucking February. Thanks, Cauldron Films.
Dude, I am still fucking waiting for Umbrella to send me my stuff. They have not sent my order. I ordered it back in April, I think, or May.
Oh yeah.
I emailed them and they
told me
said, I think it was like a week ago. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're really sorry about that. Your order's on the way. It'll be there it'll be out in a couple days." They never shipped it.
Nope.
It still hasn't been shipped. So
They're Australian though, so they probably
I'm gonna have to
relax.
fucking raise hell on them. I don't know what's going on with them.
One too many fucking Fosters Australian for being Oi, shit on you, Mark. If I can get you set when you get it, mate. Something to that effect.
I don't know, like what happens with them. Like it's every time, like, and really goes for a lot of these companies. As soon as I order something, they're like, "Oh, look, it's this dumb fuck. He'll get his shit whenever we feel like sending it out."
That's
But yeah, that's just my luck. I don't know.
They're racist. They know you're black. So.
Yeah, that's what it is.
that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to close on racism tonight. We appreciate everybody coming in and like posting lists and things like that. This has been a long and very, very intricate show. So I'm thankful to my co-host as always, Matt and Mark, and I'm thankful to everybody that have been in the chat that have hung around to watch this. Tomorrow we're doing a round table. It should be pretty badass and brutal, and you'll pee out your butt if you watch it. So that's all I'm going to say. But until you get a chance to watch that, and until you get a chance to take those or to watch those guys' shows, always remember this one thing.
Here's the thing about horror fans. They love to complain.
And we'll see you guys later, man.
Later.
I'd like to tell people, thumbs up the video, Uncle Bill.
Would you?
Yes. Thumbs it up with violence and fury and just love everything about it.
You hit the heart button, then you hit the ass button, then you hit the go fuck yourself button. Follow that up with the I don't give a shit button.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. Do you know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
We have a literal jukebox full of songs and thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million